Hello everybody and welcome to the pre-game show. I'm International Master Sopiko here for you on Chess24. So, what is this show about? I'm covering the highlights of previous game and then having predictions with the guests for coming one. What happened in game 10? As we know, the history was already made, so we never had in World Championship match 9 draws and 10th game again finished in a draw, but it was a huge fight. The opening battle started with a novelty and everybody was excited about it. Daniel King tweeted, Svashnikov novelty pawn to b4, and everybody was excited about this pawn b4 move, and Chess24 afterwards tweeted that Caruana plays b4 instead of his surprise bishop d2 in game 8. Giri said, no doubt Magnus feels awful now. The second time in a row you get surprised in the same line in 2018. That's pretty bad. And then we had a GIF from Olympio from actual game. What was Magnus's reaction after Fabiano's 12b4, possibly a big novelty? Magnus Carlsen kept the ultimate poker face for a few minutes, then he sighed, and we see that he sighed like and took a sip of water. Erwin Lamy, he was excited about the novelty as well, and he tweeted, expecting a quick bishop e3 here, f5, a5, f4, bishop b6, queen e8, bishop c7, looks sharp and forced. Excellent prep from Fabi once again. But then he was a bit puzzled, and his next tweet was, bit puzzled with Fabi's time spending now. I was assuming him to be well in book and keep blitzing, especially given how sharp the position is. So he was a bit disappointed. This was all about novelties and opening battle, and then we had a famous and everybody's favorite super grandmaster Alexander Grischuk saying, this is real chess, and Olympio G. Urkan tweeted Alexander Grischuk about today's game, this is real chess. Afterwards, Jan Rogers, in terms of chess understanding, this is what I would assess we are the most different on. He values the center a lot, said Carlsen of Caruana's before their London world title match. In game 10, Carlsen has the center, but Caruana has the edge. So this was the, he quoted Carlsen what he said about Caruana, and then Jonathan Tistel, he answered that this center observation can explain an awful lot of Carlsen's opening decisions in this match. After that, Olympio explained everything and quoted Magnus. Magnus Carlsen's famous 2011 quote comes to mind in regret to that. Having preferences means having weaknesses. It was a big fight, and then Olympio gave us again a GIF about b5, which everybody was excited. This was the moment where people were saying that this is going to be a sharp game. We're gonna see blood today. This is going to be decisive game. And in the GIF we can see Magnus playing b5. After a 15-minute thing, Magnus Carlsen played the sensational b5. There's a fire in every section of the board. As I said, a lot of people were excited about this move. Afterwards, Jonathan Rosen, he tweeted, b5 is a resolute move requiring a lot of confidence at this stage in the match. In chess lingo, it is an attempt to wrestle the initiative. And after that, we had Darje again tweeting, Norwegian fans in London are pretty excited after Carlsen played b5. Maybe the most spectacular move he has made in this match, his manager said. So everybody was really excited about it, and afterwards Erwin Lamy tweeted, I'm calling it decisive result incoming today. This was all about b5 when I read Nigel Short's tweet and the picture. They can't possibly make a draw from this position, can they? So people started to jinx it, really, because after Nigel Short, their Mike Klein tweeted that I don't see how this could possibly be drawn. GM Hikaru, he quoted Grandmaster Hikaru. And afterwards we had again Darye's tweet saying, if this position does not end in a decisive game, 3 dots. So what do you think? How did it end? People were so excited about it, and B5 gave Magnus a real initiative, and everybody thought that, yeah, that's going to be the day. And I was actually thinking that I really want to see blood today, and maybe this is the Magnus's chance, but after some movements in the game, conclusions were drawn. Benjamin Bock, he tweeted, all of a sudden it's Carlsen that has to be accurate to make the draw. Crucial how he will handle this. Then we had again Jonathan Roson's tweet. Carlsen throws Caruana a wobbler with King D4. What do you want, your majesty? My pawns, my rooks, my soul? But I think Carlsen did not have that in mind, because then I liked what Dan tweeted with, tell me again how the engine says this mess is 000. I really love this picture. And we had a lot going on broadcast as well, as we have 3 super grandmasters, Alexander Grischuk, Peter Svidler and Anish Giri commentating the game, and they were really like, what's going on? Grischuk on game 10 said, without computer assistance, the first game in which the level of play is horrible. And afterwards, he said, I really bashed those guys today for their play, but maybe I'm wrong. It's just my impression. I'm definitely not trying to insult anyone. Peter asked him, so you're taking a pause to reflect on your behavior? And he was very funny with answering no to check what engines say. And then he came back with the assessment of engine. He said, and Grishuk's back with the conclusion, at least on a weak engine they played okay. I don't know, I'm upset, and now it's just a draw because of this miracle. And Chess24 concluded that chess is a draw, so the game was really drawn. Afterwards, on rest day, Magnus Carlsen tweeted, hoping for useful tweets for round 11. And none other than my husband, he was very fast, giving him advice with, just don't go for the bird. You know, the opening, the bird inside the cage. That was a good one. So, it's time for predictions, and you know, guys, that we have guests every day. So, what will be your guess? Who's gonna be our guest today? I'm gonna call him and introduce him. I'm gonna give you hints. He won European Individual Championship. He won the Grand Prix Series, and he also was second at World Championship match of Boris Gelfand and Vladimir Kramnik. Who's it gonna be? Let's see. If I give you another hint, this would be where you really cannot miss it, and you should guess it. He won the Russian Championship Super Final as well. Let's call him. Hello there!
Hi Sofiko, hi all.
And there we have Evgeny Tomashevsky, about who I was talking in the introduction. Thank you very much for being in the show and being with us.
Thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here.
Thank you. So, this show is about all predictions, and what do you think about the match so far? How is it for you, the Carlsen-Caruana match?
Well, for me it's much more interesting than usually I hear about it. I regret that match is only 10 games. nice to mention that during the 10th game I discussed the match with my friends, and we all regret about the 10th game, because it's maybe one of the best games in the World Championship history.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it was maybe the only game of the match which can pretend on this status, of course. And after this game, Magnus Carlsen said that he wants to play 16 or 18 games to decrease the influence of the result of one game. Yes.
Yeah.
And I also regret that World Championship match is not 16 or 18 games. I think we should see more fighting games like 10s in this case.
Right, and what do you think? Because we have 2 more classical games left. Will it go into tie breaks, or will it still be resulted in the classical match?
Well, objectively, of course, it should be tie break because of in 2 games. I think nobody wants to risk. But you don't need to underestimate 2 things: the heart of champions. First of them, of course, Magnus will try to win, and I think also Fabiano will try to use his chance to pressure Magnus in the last game if the 11th game will be drawn.
Yeah.
So I hope some events will be in last 2 games, but I think tiebreak. Okay, in the end it will be tiebreak.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you think that they will go all in with white games? Well, but we'll try to play it safe as well. And I want to mention, I already mentioned about you, that you were second of Boris Gelfand for his World Championship match, and Vladimir Kramnik as well. So you are very experienced second. How is it for you this last 2 games? What is the pressure and how does it feel?
Yeah, there's a very special feeling to be a second in this type of events, and especially for this type of players. Yes, there are very few players to help which is to help whom is a very big honor, and it's a privilege, of course. And I try to do my best, but I need to say that in the end of the match, of course, the pressure is extremely high, and for seconds also, of course, not only for players. And I think maybe the seconds will worry much about Rossalima, Sveshnikov, or English opening, or any other openings, and I think they will be not quiet till the tie breaks and until the end, of course.
Yeah, it will be much tougher for the seconds because they have to really work and find something right for the white pieces, because before game 8 and 9 and so on, we had like, oh my god, what they are doing with white pieces. Nobody can show anything. What is this?
Yes, of course, and I need to say a few things about it. First of all, for tiebreaks you need to prepare something special. Of course, I think in tiebreaks we will see other openings comparing to the main study of the match. But the second important thing, I need to say that when I tried to help Boris in 2012, it was much less theory, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, we thought that everything is known 6 years ago, but yeah. I think for now I realize that we were not right at all. And now the seconds, their task is much more difficult to find anything creative with white.
Do
It
you
wasn't.
think? Yeah, sure.
It wasn't. Yes, I'm sorry. It wasn't easy at all in 6 years ago, but for now it's especially hard to find anything with Byte.
Do you think it's because that the engines got so strong, and nowadays if you switch, let's say, Stockfish 9, not even talking about any other super engines, it's like zero zeros everywhere, so it demotivates also seconds and players?
Yes, yes, of course, and it's objectively computers are much stronger than before, and I know the level of engines, and for now it's completely different comparing to the previous level. It's I think it's growing year by year, maybe month by month, and it will be even more difficult in future to find anything objectively. You need to try to find something very special to play. Yes, just best playable positions, like in ninth game maybe. I think to have this kind of position which arisen in ninth game in English opening, it was the great achievement of Magnus seconds, I think. And I need to congratulate them, but maybe other guys can say that oh, okay, what are they doing?
That is true. So, who do you think is better prepared seeing all the games, all 10 games?
I think Fabiano is better prepared in general, but it's obvious that both players are better prepared with black.
Yeah.
But I think Fabiano is more ready to set up some problems with white than Magnus. Probably Magnus just want to play something, but Fabiano has some ideas. Maybe not much, but he has.
And as a top player and as experienced second as well, what do you think, which strategy is better? Maybe it's very individual, but like to try everything with white as Magnus did with d4, c4, e4, or to stick with one like e4 that Fabiano is doing?
Returning to my experience of seconding great players, Vladimir and Boris, I need to say that really great players don't want to put everything on one stake, yes, and they're trying to create chances with both colors, and of course I think both sides should be ready to fight even with black, not to put everything for white game. And okay, maybe situation will allow black to search for something, yes. And if we mention 10th game, I think black had no less chances to win than white.
Yeah.
And of course a lot of people told during the match that black are just better and white even can't equalize.
Yeah.
But of course it's kind of joke. But okay, maybe black is so good for now. I think they will try to push with both colors, if they had some chance.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just thought that maybe for seconds it is much easier to have one, let's say, one e4, then you can go deeper rather than if you have to check everything like c4, d4, e4, then you have lots of things and maybe it cannot be as deep as to be narrow, let's say, and have one opening.
Yeah, of course, and okay, let's mention one more thing. We have two different types of tasks comparing Magnus team and Fabiano's team. So when you are in Fabiano's team, you need to prepare against a very wide repertoire. Yes,
Yes.
you need to prepare against e4, d4, and c4, but you can't expect the main continuations. What opening do you need to watch? He can play everything at any moment, and when you prepare to Fabiano, you can expect that he will play Petrov, and
Yes.
also you can expect Queen's Gambit. But okay, when you are preparing for Fabiano, sometimes you think it's better
To switch.
if you are not expect these openings.
Yeah.
It's very hard to beat and very hard to play them.
Yeah, that is true. And was there any opening surprise for you that happened in the match? Everybody was talking about this novelty of game 10 b4. Did you expect that Fabiano would go again with the same line and deviate?
Well, I think Vladimir Kramnik, about whom we told before, is quite a good specialist in this line, and personally I don't know much about this line, but I've heard from him about this line some interesting things, and I expected that especially after 8th game, that something like that will arise in 10th game. Not exactly before, but I knew that this line is not so easy for black at all, and white can try in different ways. I expect the growth of popularity of this 95 line against Sveshnikov. But as for me, the main surprise is why Magnus is not challenging the Petrov. Because of if we compare Petrov and Queen's Gambit and English opening, as for me, Petrov is the weakest opening between these three. Of course, it can be a paradox, but if I could play, I should try to fight with Petrov first.
Do you think he will do that today as he has white pieces? Do you think he will go for e4 or again English or d4?
Well, it could be beautiful to play 2 e4, 2 c4 and 2 d4, and I hope so, but to be honest, I mainly expect something like maybe knight f3 and...
He did not try yet, right?
Yes, but as for me, I personally hope for e4 and try something without early exchange queens in Petrov defense.
Do you think it's advantage for Fabiano that he has white pieces, and he already surprised him in the Sveshnikov with bishop d2 and then with b4, and one more game? Do you think he's done with Rosalimo and he will stick to Sveshnikov and surprise him again in game 12 with another move?
Yeah, we can't say definitely, but of course, logically. He should stop to play Rosalimo and to continue in Sveshnikov. It was logical before these games, and during these games, this opinion was obviously right. Yes, and he had much better chances in opening Sicilian than in Rosalimo. So the second part of the question, I think to have white in the last game is quite a solid advantage, because of as Sasha Grischuk said before, Magnus will live two very difficult nights before the last game, and pressure grows, and it's very important to play with white the last game. I think it's important, and as I could remember, Boris played. I don't remember it exactly, but yes, of course. But I remember all the games of this match, and he finished with black, and he was in danger in the last classical game, and it was due to the pressure, I think.
So you think psychologically it's more difficult for Magnus right now than for Fabiano?
Yes, but it depends much on the 11th game. Yeah. Probably this reason is for sharp game today. Mm-hmm. Maybe Magnus will try something more risky than usually, but of course it's not obligatory. But I think Magnus will try today because of. To have an equal score and to have such a crazy position like in 10th game, yeah. In the last game, which can decide everything. I think Magnus will try to avoid it.
Oh, that would be very interesting, and we are really looking forward for the fight. But as a spectator, what would be best for you, to see tie breaks or to have a match finished in classical control?
Yeah, for me personally, I need to say that I don't like to see tie breaks much. For me, it's much easier to play tie breaks than to watch.
Yeah.
For example, I watched tie breaks for women's world championship, and it was very hard for me to watch. And I prefer that classical match
decides the match.
Would be decided in classical stage, but of course I will look forward for tie breaks.
Yeah.
It's 6-6, of course.
And do you think it influences Magnus that everybody thinks that he's favorite in Rapid and Blitz, and he's much better than Fabiano, than in classical control? Do you think it influences him that he has never lost any tiebreak, and he is so good, and everybody gives him like 80% chance versus 20? Maybe he just doesn't care so much to show something with white today, and just he is okay with 2 draws and going into tie breaks.
Yeah, I think generally Magnus is not influenced much by other opinions. Is for him the most important thing is what he's thinking himself, and if he's sure about his tiebreak chances, odds, I think he will do these draws. So remember the last match, he was sure that he has good chances on tiebreak, and he drew the last game
without any big fight, right?
Yeah, of course, even in half an hour, and not big fight, but without even a try.
Yeah.
And nobody expected this. Nobody expected this, and some guys thought that chess
is dead.
Will revenge him. So will punish him after that, but. I think he is so self-confident. It's not important for him. Public opinion is not important for him. If he is sure that he will win, he will go for tiebreaks. But I need to say that I'm not sure that he evaluates his chances on tiebreak like public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think he underestimates himself, but probably he should evaluate his chances like maybe 60% on tiebreaks.
Slightly favorite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you think about the first game? Because when game started and we saw Magnus had such a great advantage, like winning position in first game, everybody thought that, yeah, this is Magnus's position and this will be Magnus's match. And he could not convert it. We were shocked about it. What was your reaction? What happened to Magnus? Everybody started to think like, what's wrong with this guy? It is his position.
Yeah, but I predicted before the match when I was asked about it. I predicted Magnus' victory after 11th game, and maybe it was too brave, but okay. I think if he could convert the first game, this scenario could be possible. But as for me, it means that Magnus is not at his best at all. And I think it's a logical continuation of his streak last few years. I think now he's one of the best players, but probably the best player still, but not the clearly best player whom he was a few years ago. And he said himself about it press conference when he favored himself 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, I respect Caruana, of course, but I think the equal score is more influenced by Magnus' mistakes.
Right.
So I think if he could play his best chess, he could win convincingly.
Do you root for new world champion or the same one?
Well, it's no matter for me. In fact.
So you did not make any bets?
Didn't make, and it's much easier to watch for games if you don't make any bets. Yeah. I can just watch and pleasure with the games and with each move. And I think if Caruana will become world champion, it also well deserved.
Right.
He's working hard and he's a great player and great chess person. But why not?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Evgeny, for your insights and for predictions. The game will start soon in 15 minutes, so I probably should let you go, but thanks for being in the show, and it was my pleasure.
And also, it was my pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity to predict and to say something about the match.
Great. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Well, so it's very interesting. I loved the insights of Evgeny, who gave us a lot of important information. He was second during the World Championship match with of Boris Gelfand, so it was really important. And thanks to him, we got some inside information: what it is for seconds to prepare for the last rounds, what is the pressure. And yeah, I'm really definitely looking forward for today's game. As Evgeny mentioned, it would be very cool that Magnus tries 2d4, 2c4 and 2e4. So we are rooting for this. But it's over for me. The showtime is over. And now I will give you much stronger team, which will be Anish, Giri, Peter Svidler, and after an hour, everybody's favorite Sasha Grischuk will join the show. So have fun, everybody, and let's see what happens in Game 11. Bye-bye.
The point of this move is not entirely clear. Even if 6, I think
there's one very clear point. Try to take the guy out of the book. That is a huge thing.
I'm scared now.
I'm terrified.
I'm scared.
I mean, I'm absolutely terrified.
Yeah, Queen D1, of course. I mean, we knew...
Jesus Christ. I mean, you know, with me here, there's such risk. If that happens, I'm gonna be blamed for everything, right? I mean...
Well, you're still going to be, but...
I mean, if they would do this forbidden thing, I would be the culprit. I would never be like, oh, this is the guy, you know, fire the commentary guy.
But how do you get it?
Head. It's like with the head, yeah? When you jump, try to hit the ball with the head and you collide with someone.
I think there was a collision, yeah, that's what they said. And
no, I can tell you about my experience playing basketball with Magnus. So, and okay, I'm taller and have more weight than him, so he basically can do nothing. So, okay, so he just stands like sort of with his shoulder to me and just trying to do something, but you know, to no avail.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point he just started to elbowing my ball. And I had to step away and he made the basket.
In just a question for Magnus Carlsen. Were you in any pain from your injury during the game?
No.
Ouija Norway, question to Magnus. Is this your best game during the World Championship?
No. Okay, I think we've dealt with that one.
And Magnus is going for the kill.
X3?
You will see in a moment.
yeah, you played Queen G5.
So something unbelievable is going on. I mean, you play Queen G5, that means you believe in attack, which doesn't work. And then when you have almost winning attack, you don't believe in it and you don't play F3.
Hello everybody, and Game 11 is upon us, and we are back here in the studio. It's me, Peter Svidler, and with me is Anish, Giri, looking dapper as usual. So what do we expect?
Well, expected tense game, especially after the previous one. I mean, that was an experience.
That was very, very difficult to understand, and the feeling I got after doing a somewhat superficial recap afterwards is that some of our criticism was frankly unjustified.
Yeah, I've actually also annotated the game already, because I'm also going to write for the new chess magazine later on about some games, and I've looked at the game. Yeah, indeed. In fact, even this Queen G5 lines, I mean, I've analyzed them a little bit. I mean, they were complicated lines. I mean,
Yeah.
I had to leave my computer running at some point and get a drink, and to make sure I'm not blundering. The computer's not blundering some mate. But I think what they both missed there actually was that after F3, the bishop from B6 covers the G1.
Exactly. This is the same line, I guess, that I showed in the video. And yeah, we were very, very critical of that decision. But I think in practical terms, it's wrong against the machine, but it's very natural for white to get quite seriously scared by the threats of rook f6, rook h6, and yeah. But once again, discussing concrete positions without the position on the board is probably not something we should be doing. What do we think about the openings today? Will Magnus actually flip the bird? And
no, that was the good one yesterday. I think the games when Magnus is white are far less easy to predict. What he has achieved, at least at this point in the match, is that Fabi has no idea what's waiting for him. That's for sure. I'm afraid Magnus might also have no idea what's waiting for Fabi, because he's tried pretty much from all the sides, hasn't quite gotten the weak spot of Fabiano.
Yeah, so far, I mean, if we follow the logic, he went d4, c4, e4 in the first half of the match, and then d4 and c4 in the first two games of the second half. So by this logic, today is the 1e4 day.
Ah, I thought you meant to say the opposite, like he abandoned the Petrov, sort of like he tried once everything, like it's okay, the Petrov is there, so that's what I'm not touching, perhaps. But indeed, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, why not? I mean, I've played the Petrov for many years. Occasionally I drop it, occasionally I come back to it. I mean, it's a nice tight opening, but there are some problems there too. So
yeah, I was slightly surprised that the line they chose to test the Petrov in the first time they went for 1e4 was the one they chose, but
they chose not to test the Petrov.
Pretty much, yeah. I think it would be fair to describe it as not really testing the opening altogether.
Yeah. But what I noticed actually with Magnus's recent white games is that he's especially this bishop g5 idea, I've looked at it quite briefly, and this knight d3, I think his main point is to surprise Fabiano at all cost. Because I mean, the move bishop g5, it is like so insanely deep in that English. I mean, he could be certain Fabiano hadn't checked it, because it's really not a very challenging move. I mean, in itself. You're ready to spend 2 tempi for rather vague gainings, and yeah, I think that's his strategy. He's trying to not so much fight for the advantage, but to really surprise him and get the game going.
Yeah, I think that generally has been his approach to white games throughout his career, but sort of sadly for him, he really hasn't managed yet, apart from maybe game 9, as you mentioned. Once again, we were getting extremely excited during the live broadcast because we felt that white's advantage is probably bigger than it actually was.
Yeah,
but he did get a position he normally would absolutely salivate over.
That's true. In fact, the computer as well gave it a very large assessment, but after that I briefly looked, I couldn't see a plan, perhaps with some deeper analysis.
Yeah, but this is the problem, that even the machine says white is significantly better, sort of close to an extra pawn in a position where material is very level. But then it starts shuffling and doesn't really make any progress. So you don't actually know if that position is actually convertible or not. I have seen some discussions on Facebook in particular. There was a discussion about a certain plan for white, which even if all the rooks come off the board, people were arguing that yes, the machine will hold this with black, but not a machine might actually lose.
Yeah, well, that's what I also thought, that at some probably white's only chance in fact is to just let it happen, let the rooks just be traded.
Because, very possibly, but after that, once again, we are discussing something that you guys cannot see, and we probably
strange things.
Yeah, probably shouldn't be doing this. But as for today, once again, until we see move 1, there's not a lot to discuss on the board, and the one thing we know for sure is that it is getting very, very tense. I think it's becoming also very obvious, even in press conferences. And Magnus looked sort of tenser than even normal during the press conference after game 10. It felt like it really is getting to him. And if Fabi is preserving a calmer front, it's just because he's better at preserving the calmer front. I'm pretty sure. I don't think he's calm.
Well,
and yeah, and
might be two days away from the best day of his life. I mean, hard to be calm.
Yeah. So once again, today probably. I mean, judging from what went on before, Fabi should feel reasonably okay about today, because they really haven't scratched the surface of what he prepared for this match. But it would be a good time for Magnus to actually show something.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Magnus' strategy not to test him, Fabiano, in any critical line, but it is a pity for me as a professional, and maybe also for Magnus, because now he going into the final game, he doesn't really have a clear idea of what Fabi actually really has prepared. I mean, he knows there is some sort of Petrov, but Petrov is a big opener.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many systems against the 5d4, many systems against 5 knight c3. In the QGD, also, there are some questions. We don't know, for example, what Fabi wants against the Catalan or whatever.
Yeah.
Many questions there.
I mean, because the QGD had seen 2 games as opposed to some other lines, you have a slightly clear idea in the QGD, and also maybe you can draw some inferences from the types of positions Team Caruana was aiming there. But even there, obviously, there is like, we don't know what happens after 5 bishop g5. We can guess, but we don't know. And even bishop f4 clearly can be played in a number of ways, and probably White can find other semi-ideas there.
Yeah, there are many lines within the bishop f4 c5 system as well. I mean, there are... and I think by the end of the match, you would want to have some idea of what Fabi has prepared. And I actually don't have any. So.
And yeah, this is far be it from me to criticize the approach, because obviously, you know, some very serious thought went into what Magnus and Team Magnus are doing here. But I'm fairly confident in saying they expected to know more and to get further by game 11 than they have gotten.
Yeah, I'm actually quite curious because Magnus, he clearly thought about his match a lot. He had a clear strategy with black, for example. I mean, this playing the c5 knight c6 Sicilian game after game was clearly not a spontaneous decision there, and he must have also had a clear plan of what he wants to do with white. At least he might have. I mean, he decided to probably test him in many different openings. I guess he's played d4, e4, and c4. But still, I want to hear from him, like, yeah, how he would formulate his strategy. What is the strategy exactly? Like,
yeah.
Because one thing he has achieved, for example, is that Fabi doesn't know what to expect, so that makes him nervous. On the other hand, Fabi doesn't have to repeat a lot of stuff because there haven't been many problems, many issues. So it's I'm not sure he has really achieved much. But okay, today's game is crucial. If Magnus gets something today, it will be enough. There's no need to get a winning position in every white game. Yeah, but any problem today is already enough. Yeah,
he just very badly, I think, wants a chess game today, and so far I think he got one with white, right, in game 9, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that one actually was a good result from the opening. I mean, he posed some problems, and he saw Fabi make concession after concession. But perhaps it was not enough.
Perhaps it was not enough, yeah. And someone already mentioned a curious little factlet, so to speak, factoid, that Sergei Karyakin is actually making the first move today in London, which is...
I read that,
I mean, well played to him, and but it's an unusual choice of a person to make a ceremonious first move.
I think also the players, they're gonna see the humor there. I mean, they must be having a good time. I mean, they're sitting there and Sergei's coming, and they both know him so well.
Yeah,
I mean, like it lifts up the mood, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, probably, and also like he definitely has enough sense of humor to maybe do some kind of a although maybe in game 11 it's a bit too late for like running gags, you know, the type of things that Woody Harrelson did in game 1, for instance, like him asking e4, which one is that, you know, like, it might not work as well during game 11 than it would.
Tension's a bit too high.
Yeah. I think game 3, if Sergei was doing game 3, he definitely could have gone for some light comic relief, but probably not today. Today I think you know, this is the business end of the event.
But still, I think both players at this stage the tension is so high. They want to have a joke. I mean, they just want to have some fun. I
Sure.
think. So I think they will. They
Sure.
welcome it.
No, I mean, but the thing, like, they probably do, but Sergey shouldn't be the one volunteering it because he might get it wrong and it might annoy somebody on the stage, and like messing with them I think is slightly unnecessary in this situation, and we should be getting moves soon enough. So
yeah,
we'll
but
see.
I know the chat is not to be trusted. I believe last time they cheated us. So
No, but there's
some guy saying 1b4. I mean,
yeah, but
skeptical.
there's also people saying Karakin YOLOs 1f4. I don't think you YOLO anything here. I think this is, I mean, the time for YOLOing is way past. And people, I assume, watching the broadcast are saying he actually made a joke and they liked it. Not surprised. He is a funny guy and a well-liked guy, I think. And
oh yes,
yeah,
yes,
I mean,
everybody likes Sergey. Yes.
Yeah, everybody gets along well with him. 1e4. So actually, the full cycle, yeah.
Yeah, predictable, right? 2-2-2.
Yeah,
So,
and but then, like, if you wanted to do that, I was about to say this is wrong, and then I thought this actually gives you a second, sort of a week, to prepare something for each one of those, right? Like you play d4, you give them a week to. So like it gives you the maximum amount of time between.
This sounds like a strategy. You see, finally, this sounds like a strategy. That makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. So you test, and then you have the most amount of time between the two 1e4 games to actually come up with something. And yeah, I don't expect anything remotely resembling game 6 today.
Time for some mainline, right? Some
yeah, there should be.
Knight c3.
There should be something sensible going on today. Yeah, I don't knight c3. Or once again, like I don't know what. Whoops. Whoa. I don't know what your opinion on this is, but I always felt that for people, I mean, against people who play bishop d6 and not bishop e7, you're kind of happier playing the white side of the Petra.
Yes, but I've had the courage to look at these leaked videos. By accident, and the leaked videos suggested some bishop e7, bishop f5.
Yeah, but that's again, that's another thing that you don't know because you played knight d3 in game 6. You don't actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you should have checked.
Yeah, you don't actually know where the bishop goes, and I think this is maybe one of the reasons why 5 knight c3 has been already played, because here at least you're pretty sure where this is going.
Yeah, knight c3. There is a file called knight d7, knight f6. In the leaked videos.
Once again, I feel discussing this seriously, we probably shouldn't.
Unless he plays knight d7, knight f6.
Because I mean, it's a bit of a touchy subject for everyone by this point, but some of the. But again, we can probably save it until either after the match, which is slightly perhaps unfortunate for the. Whoa.
No, but I mean. We can pretend it didn't leak, but it leaked, and it's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's not people's fault.
No, it's not.
Everybody saw it.
But again, knight d7, you don't have to go to f6.
c6 also possible.
Yeah, c6 is possible. They used to play knight e5 as well here in this position, I think.
A while ago, yeah.
But again, the knight is already.
I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's just. It is slightly curious that he just goes for something he must understand will be checked, because like it's criminal negligence for Team Carlsen not to check this.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Sometimes you show your cards. Okay, onward. Because black is in general fine in chess theory. Black is the starting position is okay. So if you are playing black, you can even just show. Sometimes you can even show your whole file to someone and say, "Okay, prepare for it." I mean, I hope it's all covered. I believe
whole file. I think there was, but there was one known instance of this. I remember I was returning from one of the Bundesliga weekends with Georg Meyer, and Georg Meyer has been playing sort of the same line of the Rubinstein French for like his entire life, seemingly. And people kept on, he told me this story, people kept on testing him in a slightly unpleasant endgame.
Yeah, I know which one he means.
Yeah, and he knew it was a draw, but you had to play really, really precisely for a very long time not to lose it. And then he thought, how can I deal with this? And the way he dealt with this, I was very stunned, but he said it worked. He actually fine-tuned his analysis and published it in a magazine, the entire analysis, sparing no detail. and
just
said,
show people,
yeah, and said, and said, this is my file. This position is a draw. Please don't play this against me. I know this is a draw, and people actually stopped playing it against him.
Brilliant, yeah.
So,
this may be the point of leaking the video. Like, I know 97, 96. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't play it against me. Yeah, I wanted to say C5. Actually, this system has become popular after Hare Krishna employed it against Karyakin, and I guess Hare Krishna might have gotten it from Ganguly, who is his longtime second. And later, Knight of 6 and C5 was played against me by Alexander Motidov in our World Cup match. And it has a point. You start with C5, but eventually you want to go D5. And then suddenly it looks quite pretty, the pawns in the center.
So this is reasonably well known even in high level chess,
it's basically
why,
topical.
Why is there not a move on the board?
A little bit odd. There are also ideas, by the way, of Queen A5 and Bishop E6. So there are some, it's all well known. I think the line starts with Rook H1, one of the lines.
Now, Rook H1 is clearly one of the main moves you would consider. You would also probably consider something immediate on the king side, but honestly, yeah, H4-ish. Yeah, I was wondering if in some positions, but because Black wants to play D5, I don't think
this is common H4, Knight G5. But yeah, it's often a question like here, you know, the bishop might have to go away from this diagonal then.
Yeah, without the bishop on D3, you will be a lot harder pressed to give mate.
On the other hand, you get the D4 square now, so your bishop often comes to D4, and then you go F3, G4. Then you either sacrifice this knight or drop it back, and then go G5 and crush through. And Black, meanwhile, will go B5, B4, Rook B8, and
yeah, no, we could actually have a very, very sharp Petrov today if things sort of go along those lines. And another thing to point out about all these Knight G5 ideas is that obviously once White goes Knight G5, it more or less never retreats.
Yeah, it's important motive.
Yeah.
This is an important sacrifice.
Yeah, you more or less always reply to H6 with H4, and you keep it there, and you don't care.
It's some sort of a checkmate most of the cases. Yeah, I think Magnus might be just going through the move orders in his head, because he must have been prepared for this, because C5 is the main move. As
mentioned, now that the video is out, and you know people have asked them in press conference and so on, I think even if you think it might be a hoax of some sort, you still ask some of the people who do some work for you to check. Absolutely. Just on the off chance it's not, because it would be extremely stupid to be given this bit of information and not act on it at all. Yeah, that's actually, but what we see so far makes this whole video, I think, a lot more meaningful than. Yeah, I honestly did not expect it to mean very much. I had some ideas on that topic, which, like, this is a surprise to me. I really. What Magnus might be doing is, like you said, he maybe thinks the system is not so good for Black, according to his file, and then he thinks like, okay, shit, what is what is the where's the catch? What have my seconds missed? Also possible. Yeah. Or he might have had. Sometimes you have actually a few ideas that you are choosing from, depending on how you feel behind the board and how your opponent looks and so on. Yeah, and we say hello to Agad, who, as somebody who works with recording things a lot more than I do, he points out that I probably shouldn't be pouring the water this close to the mic, or the mic. Yeah, I don't know why I said mic. Yeah, but yeah, yeah. I'm not as tech savvy as some other people, and I apologize for the waterfall sounds you may experience during this broadcast. Yeah, it's always tough when the mic is around. Sometimes some minor brushing of your jacket against the shirt can cause a lot of disturbance. Not big on that, but occasionally, yeah, you hear complaints from people. There are also lines where the bishop will land on G5, and then queen would go to F4 to H4. I will have to focus now to pull them out of my memory, but. So apart from Rook H1 and some version of H4 Knight G5, what would be, like, you always want to play King B1, but you also pretty much always feel like it might be a waste of a tempo, right? Yeah, King B1 can never be a bad move, obviously. But speaking in plans, indeed, Knight G5 H4 or this Rook H1 Bishop G5 are two plans. I think C5 system is not a system against which you go H3 G4. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah, I think it's usually too slow. I think that's what Fabi played against Hu Yifan. And actually, he played that somewhere H3,
and it was not a good idea. He got even worse with white at some point.
Yeah, I remember he actually had to equalize, right? And he didn't win eventually. I think
He was white, and I think he was actually losing an endgame, but then barely survived. I think that was the...
Yeah, because Hoifai has this very annoying to her habit of getting very similar positions in these Petrovs and occasionally losing them for no reason whatsoever. She lost this completely drawn endgame to Magnus, and I think maybe one more endgame as well.
Yeah, those were these positions, which are much more... Black usually suffers here. I mean, he's very close to equalizing, and he goes Queen D7 castle. He never gets mated, but he's suffering a little bit. Actually, that's also the system that Fabiano used to play before the video leaked. And only after the video leaked did probably Team Magnus start focusing on the short castle systems.
Yeah,
he did play actually c6 d5 against Levon in Olympiad, which was just a couple of months ago. So I think Magnus had to take that seriously too. And f6 is a bit of a local surprise, but once again, it's a bit odd that he thinks that long here.
It's a bit mysterious once again because of the whole narrative, which I expected to just completely dismiss from my mind once we got the first round of discussion through, and it's sort of coming back with a vengeance today because...
Yeah, there can be one move as well, obviously. I remember Rook H1 is what most people have played here. It was quite funny actually. Alexander Motilov prepared this against me, and then I made the move Rook H1, and then he went some Bishop E6. I think I went something like Bishop G5 at some point, and he actually mixed up the moves very early on as well, because it's so confusing here. Like there is the move Queen A5, there is some D5 move. Somewhere Black has to go Rook E8 as well, so it's all very confusing.
Yeah, I'm always like, I understand this is not how you're supposed to play chess at all, but anytime something like this is on the board, I immediately start wondering if I can actually take on A2 here. In some positions you can. Here probably it's just too slow.
No, very often the idea is if I try to capture the bishop, then you sacrifice it like that, yeah. King A2, A, yeah, and
yeah, like,
this
might be quite bad for white, but obviously
but there are different ways. I mean, first of all...
Yeah, there is Rook A1, but also I was wondering if it just gives me too tempting to give mate.
Very often here you just focus on the...
Yeah, just go...
Even something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Just go Queen F4, H4 and give mate on the other side of the board would be something that would have to be very seriously considered.
Yeah, you know, usually I repeat my files before playing games, but I don't repeat my files before going to the commentary, which is probably a mistake, because I should be spitting out some forced lines here as we speak, but now I'm hesitant.
Yeah, let's not educate the
the opponents, the future opponents.
We have had some members of Team Fabi, for instance, in chat during one of the days. So.
Oh really?
Yeah. So perhaps we shouldn't be giving them very much in a way of additional information.
Wow, that's fantastic. You mean like
Alejandro was here.
Oh wow, Alejandro.
For a full day during.
Alejandro.
Yeah.
Do you think he works for them as well, or he's just there for the atmosphere?
Why, like, suddenly you're insulting our good friend?
No, no, I'm not insulting. No, I mean, just he's very busy with his other. He works for St. Louis University as well, right?
Yeah, I understand, but I think.
Does he have the time actually to?
I think this takes precedence, and if we're talking about St. Louis, I think. Sort of the entire St. Louis chess industry, if you can term it that, I think is sort of on standby until this is over, because this is the biggest project they have, I feel.
So, I mean, not because I didn't mean to insult him, he obviously is capable of working. I was just thinking he might be just a friend of the family and not really be a second. Because, for example, he might be just, I mean, also a second is not likely to spend the whole day in the chat, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was very surprised and also very delighted to have him with us, because he is a great guy to have around. I like him a great deal, and he is always welcome here. But no, I think he's there for chess, and also because he is such a bubbly guy, and
bubbly.
Yeah, being around him is, he lifts the mood. I expect, but fairly sure he is still being made to work regardless.
Okay. Now Fabiano surrounded himself with his friends, right? I mean, Alejandro is a good friend, as I understand. Also Christian Chila, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
So Fabiano also just wants to have a good time as well when he's working, I believe.
Yeah, already more than 10 minutes.
This is really
extremely confusing.
I mean, what do they leak these things for? I mean, 97, knight f6.
Yeah, Rook H1 played okay. At least we can finally stop.
He just was taking his time for whatever reason. Yeah. Also, he didn't want to, play it all fast and then slow down showing Fabi, oh, this is where my file stopped, you know. Now Fabi already doesn't know, like, he knows that file couldn't have stopped here, and then he will never know anymore, you know, when the analysis stopped, and just trying to keep the mystery there.
And people are saying in chat that perhaps MC is Hollywooding here a little bit, and yeah, I think maybe by game 11 you can spend an additional 5 minutes somewhere just to slightly confuse the matter on where you know stuff and where you no longer do. And Bishop e6 played instantly, and yeah, I don't expect Fabi to...
So far my memory...
Yeah.
Yeah, King b1 is also a big move here.
Yeah, you can obviously play King b1
I think
here.
Queen a5 is one move and d5 is the other.
And after d5, knight g5, we just go somewhere and... Yeah, knight g5 doesn't connect very well with rook h1 though, right?
You mean that eventually after h6, h4 will make less sense?
Yeah, with the rook on e1, this mating attack along the h file might not be as fast as...
Yeah, knight g5 is probably the critical move, in fact. It's a question if knight e6 fe is such a massive threat. For example, I can play c4.
Yeah, here this might be an idea, right? Because...
You drop the bishop somewhere.
Yeah, just to demonstrate, if we take on e6, we give up a lot of immediate tempi.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to give you that on the next move as well, yeah? Basically, I wanted to play here something like, let's say, b5 or whatever. And you can still do that. And I strengthen my d5 pawn. e6 pawn is weak, but right now is not being attacked. And I have some sort of potential here.
Yeah, for sure.
You will obviously stop knight e4 with some move like f3 or if need be, but...
Yeah,
and I think queen a5 is what they've played. The point is that now if you go c4, obviously you trade the queens. If you go... And trading queens means you're not going to get mated. That's good news. And if you go a3, there were some ideas of c4 and then knight e4 and d5.
Oh yeah, and then it gets very sharp because black immediately starts getting very concrete ideas. Yeah, bishop a3, knight c3 ideas.
Yeah, and there are all kinds of stuff. Yeah, here in the short term and also in the long run, some b5, a5, b4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the theoretical two moves are bishop g5 and king b1 at least, as far as I remember.
Yeah, we're being informed by clever people in chat that you played bishop g5 here, so... I think you said that already, but...
Yeah. No,
it's nice.
Actually, funny, Alexander, I think he mixed up the moves. He played queen a5 here, I guess. And he got a terrible position, but I played like a3. He wants something like d5. No, at some point he basically bluffed me. I mean, there was something like... I could have forced some kind of a thing where I forced him to go h6. Like something like this, you know, and I could sort of just sack here and just crush him. But I sort of assumed he was prepared and didn't do that. It was a bit odd. I got an advantage there as well in the game, but it was not so big. But queen a5 is not the move here, I think.
So what are you supposed to do? Because queen a5 is clearly by far the most natural move in the position. Queen f4, queen b8 doesn't...
I think that is surprisingly the move. And the point is that if you go queen h4...
you need to have bishop f8 there, yeah?
After h6, yes.
Yeah.
And quite remarkably, after rook e8, bishop b5 is supposed to go back.
Yeah, it is rather remarkable.
Yeah, at least that's more or less what the engine is saying. But it made sense because the bishop is misplaced here. Yeah, it's rather be here, and also it can occasionally be trapped. No, not right now, but occasionally. And also these kind of things are coming.
But so far Magnus hasn't played either of those things.
Yeah, but he's in the book here. We should have no doubts. He's just, you know.
He has to be, and also the clock kind of fooled us a little bit. He did not spend the full 10 minutes on the previous move. He is down to 1:30 now, but not.
Well, I mean, right now is 4:19 German time, and the game started at 4. Fabi hasn't spent any time, so Magnus must have spent like around 19 minutes, right?
Yeah, but that's with increments. So he gained like 5 minutes by making those 11.
I mean, the 19, like the clock we have, like so. He spent some time, obviously, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to be surprised here. So he at least doesn't want to look surprised when he will be surprised.
Yeah, and for all the people inquiring after my glorious hat, the hat is actually on an airplane flying back to St. Petersburg as we speak. Are my faculties back now that the hat is gone? Is a much more difficult question to answer. I don't really know, and like life will show. You shall be the judge of that, chat.
Yeah, the hat was a big success. Did you expect that? Did you see that coming?
No, to be honest, no. But I mean, if I really hated how it looked, I wouldn't have posted the original tweet. But
yeah, that's clear. That's clear.
But I still did not think it would. I mean, like I expected to get flamed for it, and I didn't, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
The hat went completely viral. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm yet to find a hat which would be postable on Twitter. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. And here again, if we go knight g5, the bishop just goes back to d7, I expect.
That's the move I was considering during the game, and I later also analyzed it because it's an interesting idea actually to sack this one. I think, yeah.
I was wondering
if
that's the reply.
It makes more sense to take because you don't have this bishop g5 queen f4 setup.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's actually much harder to. I mean, okay, you are pointing at h7, but in order for this to work, you need to sort of get some bishop d4 takes f6 thing. You need to apply the pressure on this knight, and it's quite hard.
So let's look at this b3 because we're still waiting for a move. So let's just start showing some lines.
a5.
Yeah, king b2, a4, rook a1 is what I'm wondering about.
But bcb queen a5.
Oh, you can just go queen a5 here. I haven't actually captured the bishop yet.
No.
Yeah, I thought I was winning it, but I'm not.
And if you try to sacrifice it, sort of, and you could, I think, go bishop f4, perhaps, opening the e-file and maybe preparing some queen.
Rook e7, bishop d6, maybe in some positions, I guess. Yeah, even that.
Yeah, and like bishop takes a2, basically you have come close to the king, but right now you don't have an attack, and unless you bring the queen in, which you cannot do because the bishop is hanging, you cannot really exploit my weak position of my king on c1.
Yeah, bishop f4 is an interesting option, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder maybe h6 possible.
Yeah, that would be a very exciting position to discuss, but once again, I feel we probably shouldn't go too in-depth about this until something like this happens on the board, because...
Yeah, no, this is just an idea. I mean, I even remember that I thought during the game I should check it, and afterwards I checked it, and it was interesting.
Yeah, because I think this is a position where it's extremely easy to just drown in all the possible variations, and they also get extremely sharp and extremely fun to analyze, and it's very easy to get carried away just discussing some exciting position which might have no relevance to what they will have on the board in 5 minutes time.
Yeah, the only way this position can stop being exciting is that if white goes king b1, black goes queen a5, and white goes c4, and black takes on d2, then the excitement is pretty much gone.
Yeah, that's the one line. That's the one line we hope not to happen.
But that's also Magnus style to play some kind of endgame in the Petrov.
For sure, but I mean, what he's doing today so far kind of argues against it, right? Because he did go for arguably the most critical try against the Petrov, and also arguably the sharpest try against the Petrov.
But he is not very confident in his preparation, because if he was, he would, you know, he would show it with some speed and with confidence, and he's being a bit slow. I think he's afraid to be surprised a little bit. I don't know. It's
possible, yeah, because I think, once again, some amount of Hollywooding, yes, but burning 15 minutes in the context of this match, I think is completely impossible, because there have been quite serious time troubles, including for Magnus himself, even in a previous game, I think.
Yeah, even the last game, right? It's very fresh in your memory, and you remember the time trouble, and yeah, he was a bit shaky in the time trouble, so at least that's what he admitted to after the game.
Yeah, and because of that, I think you quite heavily restrict your fake thinking, so to speak, and you know.
Yeah, you mean that he should really start making his moves.
And once again, this brings up the question of why the move isn't on the board yet, because like this isn't a novelty. This is, you know, Vike. This is your game is from no, not Vike. That was
the World Cup. But the game Karakin Hare Krishna, for example, is from Shamkir, I guess. No, this is basically one of the main lines.
Absolutely, yeah.
One of the most. This is game of Fabi with white. I mean, Magnus knows about this.
Yeah, so even if we ignore the whole video subtext here, this is absolutely central. You are really supposed to be making a move here.
No, but I'm sure he's in book. But indeed, I wonder why the you know, this pretending of being out of book or pretending of choosing, yeah, it might be a bit exaggerated, because you know at some point he will be out of book, and at some point time trouble will come, and then he might regret this 15 minutes that he spent here.
Exactly, and I mean this is a topic very dear to my heart, because this regret over a pointless 5 to 7 minutes spent on a number of moves very early on, and then thinking, okay, now the position is very complicated and I don't have enough time to think. This is something I know quite well, and it's not a pleasant feeling.
Yeah, maybe he has actually refuted this kind of wait, where was the stuff? Yeah, this stuff. Maybe he refuted this stuff, and he is just wondering if Fabi is aware of it or not, and he's trying to recalculate the lines a little bit. Yeah, I'm curious. This is an important juncture actually now. I mean, King B1 is one thing, Bishop G5 is completely different. Knight G5 would simply be a bit of a shocker, because it leads to insanely sharp positions.
Yeah, and we welcome to the chat the Lawrence the Cat. Lawrence has been doing this Icon has cheeseburger impression for about a week now, and he's still at it. I don't know why, but we all have fun in the available ways, and that's I guess the way of having fun that is available to Lawrence right now.
Mr. Dodger says Lawrence logs in to get trolled by Anish.
Well, now that I kind of alerted you to him being here, let the trolling commence. Yeah. Feel free, because this is the long-standing tradition of these shows.
I wonder if Lawrence likes it.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why he does all this.
Yeah, but in a way, like, why did he deserve it, or did he? Did he deserve the trolling that he gets?
I don't. Well, I was very tempted to say this is not how life works, Anish, but I probably should refrain from saying that. I mean, the question of why things happen, like why bad things happen to good people, is first of all it's an eternal question, and second, I don't know how well it applies to Lawrence.
You know, one time I witnessed Lawrence getting very emotional over a chess game that he played with a colleague of mine, and ever since I look differently at him. I mean, I know that he can be hurt. Yeah, he is really
he's
a sensitive soul, right?
An old softie at heart, yeah. So
sometimes I'm afraid of hurting him also.
Let's not. King B1 played, so we are now one move away from being extremely sad.
Yeah, Queen A5, C4, Queen takes D2.
Yeah, please don't do this to us, Magnus. This isn't, opposite side castles and everything.
It's not a killer. I mean, yeah. I mean, this would be some sort of principled. Yeah, Queen A5. Yeah, I've looked at these things. I mean, A3 is rather risky for white, and C4.
I mean, it feels like by playing King B1, and in particular by playing King B1 not very quickly, he's locked himself into playing C4 here.
Yeah, it's going to play C4.
Yeah. I is human, not engine, like your Giri, sir, says Lawrence. No, we are all human here.
We can all be hurt.
Yeah. Everybody hurts sometimes. That kind of dates me, right? I'm not sure you even know this song.
I would ask you to sing it, but I'm not sure that would improve my chances of recognizing it.
I'm drinking. What are you doing here?
The mic, the water,
No, but like, do you want actual spit takes in this studio? I mean, we might eventually have one, but I think it's a bit too early.
It reminds me of a story. A friend of mine, a good friend of mine, his wife was singing a song, like not singing, but how to do it, like humming it, like She was doing it like for a week, and he thought he had no idea about the song until he found out that he knew the song very well. It's just that he couldn't recognize his wife's humming. Yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I'm not singing. Yeah, that's something that is not happening.
Yeah, you're a very talented person, but this is not one of the.
Well, I mean, I have a differing opinion on this, but I'm sort of not confident in my opinion on this topic. Let's put it like this. Yeah.
Yeah, right now after King B1, Queen A5, A3 would really surprise me. If I remember well, the C4, 94, D5 stuff was very, very tricky.
That's not how singing works, Peter. Dodgy is on top form today, yeah. I think the first and last time I sang publicly was at my, I want to say, first wedding.
Ah,
And
they did sing.
those are not particularly pleasant memories, so I'm not that eager to repeat them.
You're not one of those chess players that sing, yeah? I think Nigel, I believe, sings.
He plays the guitar more
And
than
sings
he,
as well,
more
right?
than he. I mean, he does sing, but I think the guitar playing is the more important component of it. No, I mean our new FIDE general director is a famous singer.
Oh, Emil, yeah, Emil. He likes this opera stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
The deep voices.
And people are saying C4 played, and yeah, I mean having sinking B1, we're not shocked.
Well, it's important for the professionals to know then that this system of C5 cannot be refuted by some straight assault on the king side. So it is a theoretically very relevant game, I believe. But indeed, from the point of view of spectators, especially those who like kingside attacks, this is not going to be a kingside attack here.
No, not anymore. You take with the bishop, I suspect.
Knight.
Knight
There's
G4.
something to be said for both.
I was wondering, like.
But it's still a question, like, what this bishop pair brings you. Maybe I can go bishop e4.
Yeah, this is the one reason not to snap play.
I mean, like,
snap play knight g4
suppose
here.
you will. I mean, I have some plans of. You know,
Yeah, knight f1 e3, and yeah, if you get all of your moves in, you will be.
This is a really weak square, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And without the knights, you don't have any hopping possibilities. You just tie down to this pawn as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure knight g4 is.
Yeah,
You
but
took with the bishop,
he did take with the bishop. Yeah. Okay, now knight g5 is an immediate threat, but one that is quite easy to parry.
Rook f8 or
yeah,
h6,
rook f8
yeah?
or h6 would be the two moves to consider here.
I think a big question in this type of positions is whether black wants to go d5 or he doesn't.
I probably would like to, but only like if the conditions are right. You don't have to hurry with it, but like if a good opportunity presents itself, I would play d5.
The problem will then be that once I take on d5, the c4 square is going to be sort of weak because this pawn is here, and a6 can always be met with a4. Maybe
yeah, and also if you play rook f8 here, you will have to at least start calculating bishop b5 jumps if that happens. So
after d5 takes.
yeah, you have to prepare it. You have to prepare it.
Yeah,
but
no, d5 is a very long-term idea.
yeah.
And it's not clear what white might be, I don't know, pushing a little bit on the king side.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
doubling on
and
d5
people
or
and Suat is saying very many things and very quickly, and I'm wondering if that's what he thinks will happen or what he already knows is on the board. Yeah, there is this rather forcing line that he is suggesting, which I cannot assess properly.
Let's see. So h6. Well, the first move already is not necessary, right? Rook f8 probably more logical anyway.
Yeah, I would probably prefer rook f8.
I mean, even after let's say h6, h3, you probably still want this rook on e8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you might argue for rook d8 and then sort of king f8, but
maybe bishop f8 here, just to sidestep the potential
but then you get all
pressure.
You get all this knight h4, g4 stuff, yeah. Because with bishop still on e7, you have some tricks with knight x4.
Yeah, and actually what Suat is saying is it might be a relatively serious reason not to start with h6, because here you...
Yeah, if you go here... Rook
yeah, but maybe you go rook f8 and bishop f8 and pretend nothing bad happened.
The knight though will stay here because g6 can be met with knight x6.
Okay, knight g4 maybe is a...
Yeah, I was thinking f3 or h3, maybe h3.
And then the bishop goes to c3. Black probably wants to do something like... knight d7 maybe, but then bishop f4 might be quite sensible. Yeah.
No, this looks already bad. Because
yeah, this is not equal. Yeah, this is not equal at all.
Yeah, I don't think the rook e8 is good, and he suggested knight g4. Knight f5 is also.
No, but knight g6 I think is just very strong.
Yeah,
no?
it's very strong. Yeah.
Hang on, unless we can take on f2, this is critical. Here? Yeah. And knight takes on f2 and hope to trade very many things. And people are saying this is Carlsen-Caruana against Miroshnichenko 2 weeks ago. I have seen that game because I followed. Evgeny is a close friend of mine, and I followed his play in this tournament.
He played in St. Louis, right?
Yeah, he played. Basically, that was his first chess tournament in like 2 years. It didn't go well, which was regrettable. But
that's a pity. But I thought it was quite remarkable that he commentated there. And then they decided to give him an opportunity to play, right?
No, they're always looking for grandmasters to play in those round robins, and they asked him, and he said yes because he quite likes the place, and he thought it will be interesting to return to practical chess. And he was slightly sad by the end of it, but
Yeah, but I mean, it's of course something you can expect when you don't play for so long. You know, you have to stay in shape, obviously. Yeah. And
Yeah,
the first event you're gonna play.
yeah, and that was actually a very strong Grandmaster round robin. Like there were no easy games in that tournament at all. And he started by playing black against Motilov in round 1 and lost that game, even though he was fine at one point, and it kind of set the tone for the entire event.
Yeah, it's in general, I think, a great opportunity for players, because these tournaments that St. Louis is organizing, I mean, besides the Singfield Cups, also these Winter Classic, the Summer Classic, the seasonal classics, these are great opportunities for people slightly below the top 10, top 20, you know, to play for something, play some good close tournaments as well, you know, get some good prizes, test their opening repertoire against each other. I think
I think in general, many or most, like I would say almost everything St. Louis Chess Club does these days is very nice, and the amount of effort they put into sort of supporting, because I think all of it is still sort of aimed at giving, in particular, the American youngsters an opportunity to play against strong players, to play in close tournaments and so on. So they are putting a lot of work into developing that scene, and
but as a side effect, sort of, they give a lot of these 2650 players, the foreigners as well, a chance to play. I mean, that is, I think, great, and that's also relatively rare, because I think there are a lot of top events, you know, all over the world, and that makes sense because the organizers get some returns, you know, people widely following those. But these events with players slightly beneath are grabbing less attention from the public and from the sponsors, and still St. Louis invests into those, and that's just, I think, noble thing they're doing.
And back to the game, slightly surprisingly, Fabi is still...
Yeah, he might have not taken the c4 too seriously.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You worry like mad about all sorts of things, like bishop g5, knight g5, you're terrified that maybe your computer doesn't see a mate somewhere. Because, I mean, as I showed these lines with bishop g5, I mean, okay, I mean, these kind of things, yeah, they're all sort of sacrifices, and you trust your computer, but you still are never sure, because it looks extremely dangerous. So I think he must have double-checked, triple-checked all these things, and this endgame, on the contrary, is not that dangerous, right? I mean, the worst thing that can happen is it's going to be slightly worse.
Yeah, you're much less worried about this endgame. I mean, would you call the pawn on d6 a weekness?
Well, I mean, if I don't call pawn on d6 a weakness, what do I call a weakness?
That was my argument. I think I
have to call it a weakness here. Otherwise, I can just go home.
In this structure, I think it's very difficult to make like a very compelling argument.
Yeah, but right now it's...
He played h6. I mean, it does put a hard stop to all the knight g5 nonsense, but it also gives white time for...
This knight h4 is very critical, right?
Yeah, why isn't this strong?
Yeah, this I thought maybe knight f5.
But then after bishop f6, what do you play?
I thought I just need to protect this pawn, because this I'm not afraid of, so I thought I could make a move like rook e2. On the other hand, you're just gonna cover this one probably somehow. Because I mean, this you on top of other issues. I mean, I don't care, but also I might care and pick up your piece.
Yeah, I think I severely underestimated rook e2.
Rook d8, I guess.
Rook e8 as well.
You want this move actually.
Yeah, I really want to play knight e5, but I'm not sure if I will get enough time. Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
I have many ideas. I mean, I can even do something timid like b3 and bishop e4. Because once again, this knight h2 thing I'm not too worried about. I'll trap you. And if you go knight e5, I might have bishop e4, and then I have to...
You have to... Here, actually, you have to very seriously assess d5, because it's...
Well, it's not a big deal, because I can get the bishop out. But then I might...
Yeah, even those you need to calculate, right?
There's also bishop... Yeah, okay, so let's say bishop
takes.
c3.
Let's do this, yeah.
Takes.
Rook, you have to go rook e4, and I go rook d1, knight d3, rook d2.
Okay, I messed something up, yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how this is assessed, because my pieces kind of get stuck. Maybe rook c4 just wins here. Or not. I mean, I have rook takes f2. I didn't see it, but I have it by luck, basically.
Yeah, I have
by
some
miracle.
things like by miracle.
By miracle. Yeah, 97, 95
Yeah, then,
might.
but you have rook d3.
But I have rook d3 by miracle. One second.
But-
Ah, the rook is caught. This is beautiful, no? Knight takes c3.
Oh wow, this is unusual. You had me.
This
You
is
had me there. Yeah, you.
this
I mean,
is
you
quite
changed
nice.
all the pieces. You think like, okay, but
Yeah.
finally the last piece is caught.
yeah. We went through this rather fast, and obviously this is not a forced variation,
but
but
it
the
is.
final position is very beautiful.
Let's see if Black can save himself here still. Maybe not. Yeah.
Bishop a5 before rook d3.
Yeah, yeah, and then knight f4, rook c3 check. Yeah. Rook a4, also rook d3.
Maybe I'm still alive, somewhat surprisingly. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, if you are alive, you are on the nice second rank here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean I can go rook a4, rook a5, rook a7, and also after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You mean simply.
But that probably will be a draw because
Yeah.
Black has rook d7 or b5 or whatever.
But here white is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit random. This was this knight h4 move.
Yeah, that is what I think is
Very critical,
it's
right?
an important move. But also, let's once again for 1 second let's return to rook e8 and bishop f8 because
You mean here?
no h6 knight h4, we go rook e8, knight f5, bishop f8.
That looked very depressing, no?
Because I played knight d7, I think knight d7 is
Yeah,
a horrible move.
that
You played
absolutely.
h3 here. Also,
Which
maybe
I
you can
didn't have
start
to.
with bishop f4.
I
Yeah.
can do all sorts of active moves as well.
Yeah. No, but knight g4 will be slightly annoying. So I think
But
starting with either h3 or f3 makes sense.
You mean here? You
Even here, I might start jumping. Yeah, I was wondering, how do you like? It's actually actively awkward for white to meet.
maybe.
Apart from maybe
bishop
bishop g3. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried if I play a rook
Then
here
I start
or here.
taking. Yeah.
Yeah, then there are all kinds of issues on the
Mhm,
e file.
And bishop g3, I can play g6, which is kind of
Yeah, and
important.
this one is no longer hanging.
And
Yeah, even this position I could be slightly better. Because once we cleared up everything, I'm gonna go here, and this is gonna be weakness.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nice square.
And yeah, it depends on whether I can play d5 in that final position. But even there, I will be probably slightly worse, I guess.
It's quite shaky, yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky you have the back rank issues, because otherwise rook
Yeah,
e8 to
yeah,
bishop
yeah.
b5 would be
That's-
close to
that's-
winning.
That's what I was worried about.
But
You
yeah,
can make a
go
move, let's
rook
say, here,
e6 or somewhere, yeah.
and I cannot pick it up because of checkmate.
That basically is the only thing that saves me here, but... so yeah, it's interesting that he goes
And
h6.
if I do go my move h3, so it was knight h5, h4, rook e8, h3.
But yeah, rook a d8
Yeah,
or
of
something,
course,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, 97 was a horrible move by me, yeah, just a complete misunderstanding of the position. And here I will actively push for d6, d5. Even actually d6, d5 instead of rook d8
Oh yes.
might be something
Yeah,
worth
it
considering.
feels a bit slowish, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
so let's look at bishop f4 again, or maybe bishop c3.
can you even here go d5?
Oh yeah, maybe there can be an argument for that as
I
well.
mean, especially once you take it with the tempo. I don't have time for things like bishop b5.
So something like bishop g3 now. You have to c4, bishop takes c4.
Knight b4 is
Yeah, knight b4 is very sensible.
some sort of a double attack.
No, that's just very good for black suddenly.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I think bishop b5 might be the best move in
Yeah, I
this
was
position, but that already
wondering.
costs you a pawn.
Wait,
Yeah.
This one, by the way.
Ah, even this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite clean. Now, if you take here, I will take simply on c2.
Yeah, and you take two of them. And one I would maybe be prepared to
Yeah, you can still hold.
give
but
up,
two
but
is
yeah,
just-
2 is a bit too much. 2 is a bit too much.
Yeah, somehow I feel this whole maneuver of knight h1, knight f5 was counterproductive once you've hit me with d5. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe knight h4 is simply not a big deal.
And
Bishop c3 is one move here. But now maybe knight g4 is good because you cannot protect this pawn so easily.
no, I mean it's always something to very seriously consider. And Wojciech Reza, who I think I lost a game to yesterday, so I will pay, great attention to everything he says maybe put a bishop on f6 instead of f8, but
He means this here, yeah.
no, but this is where we were putting it on. Yeah. So once you go knight g4, of course the bishop probably goes to f6 in every single position. So
I think this is actually quite decent. I mean, this is a very decent regroup, and d5 is coming. I'm not sure knight h4 is a good idea because of this precisely, in fact.
maybe, very possibly.
And the fact that Fabi played h6 reasonably fast. I mean, if you're not prepared, you are worried about this.
And that actually is faster than we thought. Yeah, 138 is fast enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you are prepared and you've checked these things. White can also just play h3, g4, perhaps. or just h3 to?
Just like
for the time being.
we're not committed to it to g4 for sure, but we would like maybe to have the g4 square covered. Yeah, and all the people saying 16 more moves until the draw offer becomes legal, I think are overstating the case a little bit. I don't think. I mean, this is not Game 12 of New York. And once again, if Magnus wanted to do something like Game 12 of New York, there are much better lines of the Petrov to do it in.
He believes this is slightly better for white now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not being done to offer a draw by move 30. This is being done to try and push.
I've seen this position before with the computer on the right bottom of my screen, and I can tell you he gives 0.20, 0.25.
Yeah.
So it is some sort of a number you can build up on.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is another topic that we've discussed, not during, I think, this series of broadcasts, but in general over the past year and a half. And Magnus has become a lot more pragmatic about these things than he was when he was younger, when it felt like he was playing for a win in every single game he played. And in particular, that final game of, I think, New Delhi comes to mind, right? Or well, no, it wasn't Chennai. Yes, I'm going mad there.
You mean the match with Vishwanath?
Yeah, where he had a threefold, which would make him the world champion, and he just continued for another 3 hours.
It was okay. He had no risk there, but still, that was a bit. Now he would do it.
Yeah, and now he would just, I think, snap at it because like it saves him energy, and it does, it crowns his achievement, and he's done it in even smaller tournaments as well, where the price of the move is not so high. Like his.
I do remember the one game that he played when he was very young. I'm trying to reconstruct it. He's actually played a position like. Somehow he played a position like not this one, but something like this. He played for a win. I don't know if you remember, against Alexeyev, and lost it. Something like this, but it was not this one. But he basically already for a long time is looking for this small nuances, small pluses. So this approach is not new to him entirely.
No, of course not. But I was going somewhere with all this talk, and where I was going is. He would not hesitate to make a draw with white if he felt it was good for him. But first of all, there is still game 12 with black, and the way games 8 and 10 went, I don't think he would be absolutely insane to just say I will not lose with black in game 12, because he is being pushed.
Oh yes.
He was arguably slightly better at some point in game 10, but he was also significantly worse somewhere in game 10, and game 8 he was lost. Just flat out mathematically lost at one point. So for him to just pack up and go today would be an absolutely insane choice.
He's playing for a win. He's just doing it in his own way.
Yeah. And secondly, if for some reason he was absolutely convinced he's not losing game 12, there would be no pieces left on the board by now. Like you wouldn't see. This is a playable endgame. It's kind of riskless for white. But there's still tons of pieces on the board and so on. If he wanted to draw with white, there would really be nothing left.
In fact, it is in spirit, or he played knight d3, right? Not knight c4. Knight c4 you can also do actually, but he played knight d3. In spirit, it's similar to what he has done there, right? I mean, he played knight f4 here, I believe, and Fabi could have played knight f6, let's say, and then he would have played this endgame. It is sort of similar in spirit. It's symmetrical, maybe slightly better for white, and this is quite similar to that. So. He's trying a little bit of the same thing, just from another angle.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously from our viewpoint, considering the types of lines we were discussing after 12 bishop g5, once again, just briefly to return to this position, the types of lines Anish was telling me about, because I really don't know anything about this position here. Those are the ones I would very much love to see today, because it really gets your juices flowing there.
The adrenaline, yeah. But like I said, you study them with a computer. If you find something, you go for it. If you don't find something, you most likely don't go for it. You can, of course, what you can often do is find a very good try there, which computer doesn't show immediately. Find a line where black has to make 5 moves, only moves, and then make a draw, and check if your opponent have found this as well. But Magnus decided not to do it, or maybe he hasn't found a good try there. So yeah, he ended up playing this endgame, and okay. In fact, this line knight c3, I mean, also if Fabi wanted to play it very safe, he could have also gone knight c6 and bishop e6, right, and queen d7.
No, I think Fabi actually invited, as much as possible to invite trouble by playing the Petrov. this is inviting trouble. I think Fabi also, you know, with we're getting nearer and nearer to the magical 6-6, and I think for Fabi, playing both of these games with the chance of winning them is very important. Not that he expects to beat Magnus with Black and a Petrov, but he would like to have a shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, before the game he agrees to a draw with Black, but if a chance presents itself, he's not gonna
and
let it lie around.
And this line gives him the best fighting chance of all, I guess, all the options after 5 knight c3 and a Petrov. So.
But no longer here. I mean, here he is doomed to playing for not even 2 results, but 1.5 results. Wow, knight h4.
Knight h4, and we did not really refute either knight g4, neither knight g4 nor rook f8, right?
Knight g4 felt a little bit.
But knight g4 we were getting somewhere, right? We were getting somewhere after rook e2, yeah.
I mean, it felt dodgy in general somehow, but yeah, this particular line, for example.
We didn't. There are some very, very direct tries here, which I wanted to mention to you and then forgot. Not sure they work though. Like I can try.
On this.
Yeah, I think you have to. And then I wanted to check if I
have
can.
Bishop f4 now, after rook d8.
Yeah.
If need be.
Because knight b7, rook db8 might be quite decent for black. There's a lot of even this, although it has to be proven. I'm not sure this is good.
Take on a2.
But maybe this creates an idea of mate and 2.
Yeah,
which is,
I think this is great for black. But I was planning to go after rook f8, bishop f4.
Yeah, but bishop f4 is important. There's also, you have to mention that there is this endgame.
Oh, yes.
But it's probably a draw because you're not going to be in time.
C1? But this is very unpleasant, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, okay, it's just one of these things that you just either decide they're unpleasant or decide you don't care. But I feel such position is unpleasant.
But it depends on, obviously.
Bishop e3, let's say, I can consolidate with white. I mean, and
just b6, b3, and,
b2,
and claim you're better. Yeah, maybe.
I want to claim that, yeah.
But yeah, bishop f4 is a very, yeah, that's what I missed originally. And you cannot actually drive the bishop away from this diagonal because g5, bishop g3, h5 is just way too slow.
And now I'm threatening to take on b7, and I have knight e4 if need be.
All of these things. Okay.
d5 is a thing to consider.
d5? Don't we just kind of lose?
No, to consider.
Takes.
f3 and rook takes e5.
You do have c4 though. This is why maybe you don't lose. And the thing we're referring both of us is this little line, which does win for white on the spot.
Yeah, two pieces for a rook is generally advantageous.
But after e4, maybe you can still hold it somehow.
And the thing is, like we learned in many martial type of endgames, two bishops often compensate for a pawn. I feel still white is better here, in fact. But it's a matter of taste. I
think I'd be feeling quite safe here.
As a martial player, you don't care about this.
I don't care very much. I would be more worried about losing some endgame like this. I cannot take with the rook.
Knight f2 is nice. Yeah.
I cannot take with the rook. Okay, then I'm not worried about this either. So yeah, d5 we do not refute on the spot then. So I thought it was just completely unplayable.
Very dubious stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of ways of trying to refute it. Like I'm mildly curious about this, for instance, with the intention of playing knight e7 check. But once again, I'm not sure how I'm refuting c4. This is my issue. Because once again... there's... Yeah, hang on. CD? This is what I was calculating. And there's bishop c4 there.
After rook takes d3, you don't take on f6 because of knight e7.
Yeah, yeah. This is how I end up in a very bad rook endgame down.
But you have the intermediate move bishop c4.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if white gives mate here or not, but I don't think he does.
On which square though?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do I even start giving mate here? But we're obviously getting very much carried away. And let's just put this to bed. Is this completely pointless? Can we find no way to give an advantage to white here?
Well, you can play rook d1 if you want.
Let's say rook d1 because I think we pick up this guy.
But I feel rook f2 is gonna come at some point. You just need a good square for the bishop. Even bishop.
Maybe you can start with this.
But then I'm worried after rook e7, rook takes d2, rook takes b7. The first person to go to the second rank.
Exactly, and also it's very important that this rook protects.
So let's say after rook f8, I go a3.
Yeah, exactly.
And rook f7, I have rook e8 check. So you.
This is a very, very typical thing that you need to be aware of.
And here, if you go rook ff2, rook e7, my rooks are superior to yours because
Yeah,
my b2 pawn is protected, right?
and g7 falls, and these positions often are just completely lost. The side with the 2 rooks on the 7th is way ahead.
There is though a trick that, like, if you go as a king f8 here, white shouldn't fall for rook takes.
Yeah, that's
rook
an
e2.
important trick. Oops, sorry.
And then at least black trades rooks. I don't know how the resulting pawn endgame is, but at least you trade rooks.
Yeah, but obviously you can play rook c7, and
Yes.
black probably kind of, well, maybe not resigns, but black is in a ton of trouble here.
Black is busted.
I mean, I'm semi-alive, but
Semi-alive but busted.
busted. Yeah, the feeling is this has to be bad. Okay, so in which order do we do this then?
I can move my bishop simply. Let's just think where.
There really isn't a very good square.
Okay, suppose I give up this idea of immediate bishop rook f2 and
This is what I was calculating. Do
Here,
you
here.
want to prompt g3 or not? Probably not. Yeah, because you can start with bishop h4 and
probably not.
have my pawn on g3 in this position.
Yeah, I'm just slightly worse, yeah, because you're coming here.
Yeah, if I stabilize and don't allow you to actually
Yeah, I mean,
get to
this-
f2,
These 3 pawns against these 2 are not gonna account too much after h3, yeah?
it might not be very much, but it's definitely a slight pull
Yeah, also
forward.
because this is not a passed
white.
pawn, but... Okay, but let's see.
Yeah, and
This feels okay for black.
we got some encouragement from chat that today the clocks seem to be very on point, which is good to know because it might become relevant later in the game.
By the way... rook f2 was rook e7, yeah. Can I try to be very deep and go like bishop h4, g3, rook f2?
Yeah, this is smart because now after bishop c3 you can go back. But hang on a second, bishop e3.
Yeah, I'm trying to be very deep and do some kind of some.
Bishop f4.
I mean, rook e7 also.
Rook e7 might
E7
just
wins.
rook
Yeah.
f1.
Yeah, rook f1.
I
That was my.
I got
point.
away with it, but
That
bishop
was my
f4 might
point.
be strong.
Bishop f4, yeah.
Bishop f4 might be strong, and you end up
Yeah. No,
still
once I trade
giving me exactly.
Rook takes f4.
Ah, clever.
Yes. Escaped. Okay, I mean black is really on the edge here, but some tactics.
But yeah, we are obviously. Although it is kind of forcing. I was about
It's
to say.
relevant.
I was about to say this is us slightly getting carried away, but
No.
and people are saying rook e4 instead of g3. Might be a good idea.
Rook f6 though.
I guess maybe bishop c3 now.
Takes, rook
but
d8, rook
yeah, but
d7.
maybe you can hold this position. Yeah,
D7. This I'm holding.
yeah.
Bishop.
Just go
whatever.
all the way back. Yeah.
Yeah. Might not care so much about this small.
Well, I mean,
Small
we
issues.
do have the better bishop, but it's probably not enough.
Maybe
Yeah.
even h4, h5 you could go with white. Maybe you are better here. h4, h5 looks kind of nasty. They used cement your rook on
and a very relevant point is that even if you drive this rook away, let's say you play h5 here, you will have to do it via h7 and not f7, which means that the rook will be quite comfortably placed on e6 eventually. Because the g7, let's say king c2, you cannot do this. So you need to put the king on a reasonably poor square. Although maybe you can go back and now threaten king f7.
I'm not sure if I do that whether h4 was a good inclusion then, but
Yeah.
I could also do something else. I was planning to go h4, h5, g4, but I'm not sure it was a great idea. Probably it just simplifies. It's not a good idea. Because after g4 takes and king h7, the h4 pawn becomes a bit of a target, I guess.
But yeah, this probably is a bit too far. I don't think we should seriously analyze this endgame. It's
Yeah, but can we go back to rook f8? It looks really much more normal than
yeah.
knight g4.
Let's have a look at this.
Knight
again.
g4 is rather speculative, no?
Yeah. I kind of blanked there for a second because you know what FOMO is, right? FOMO.
No.
It stands for fear of missing out.
Uh-huh.
It's a very, very important
heard of fear of missing out, yeah.
modern concept. And apparently something extremely smart was said in chat, and it's already, like, it's scrolled all the way up and I don't see it anymore. And FOMO is killing me. But but there's nothing to be done about it.
You want me to
No.
Fear of scrolling the chat or overtaking the FOMO?
Yeah. No, I'll have to leave with my bitter disappointment. Rook e8, I mean, we kind of... Is knight g6 ever a move?
Oh, that's a great move.
I'm not sure, because, like, I'm very proud of bringing it to f4, but, like, now I have two pieces which want to be on f4.
I'm happy. I'm happy as it is. Am I not happy here? Just in general, if I play, let's say, f3 even. Go bishop c3.
Yeah, maybe.
And at least I've stopped d5 and I forced your pieces back a little bit. It's hard to say how much it is, but I think white might still be trying.
Do you want to take on e8 first? Because, like, here I can play bishop c7 and I will be taking with the rook. But I mean, bishop c3 is very awkward, yeah. Ah.
I thought you had something in mind here, but if you don't, then I'm happy to go bishop c3. I mean, I don't think my... I mean, knight on f4 is okay as long as the bishop comes to c3, then all my pieces are on these squares.
Yeah,
Knight g6 is very strong.
in terms of what I can have in mind, it's probably
That's
d5.
what I meant, yes.
It's probably d5, and it's the only idea. But I mean, like, if we know this is my plan, you can start with h3, and it will no longer work because in the same position. Like the point here is that I take on d5 twice, and black does have bishop takes h2.
Yeah, if you return to d6.
Yeah, and then the bishop goes back to d6, and this is actually very playable for black. But if I start with h3 in the same position, I think black will be close to completely busted, because d5 just gives up a pawn for nothing. And yeah, it's very, very awkward to meet the threat of bishop takes f6.
No, I must say I just missed knight g6. I think rook e8 is not a good move because of knight g6. Or...
Well, maybe you can give up the dark squared one.
Yeah,
but then you will be, yeah, then Magnus will have...
But then I have a bishop.
Magnus will be so happy, yeah.
If, the two bishops, as the French say.
Yep.
Do I here have knight g4? Or I just take and go rook e... Like knight g4?
Okay, we take, we go...
And I have knight
you have 95. Ah.
And I wanna take here actually. This one is, I don't care about, but I care about this one.
Yeah, f2 is a very serious threat.
Yeah, basically I have two threats here.
Whoa, okay, no. I thought we missed something important, but we haven't. But we now have more expert opinions coming.
Excellent. Finally, some wisdom.
Which is good, yeah. Which is always
the wisdom is coming.
Very welcome. That's the wrong one, I think. I always, like, I can never figure out which one I should use. These are very confusing earpieces. But we are going to have Alexander Grischuk with us, and this is good news, clearly. People have been already clamoring for him a little bit.
Alexander will compensate for the trade of queens here.
Hopefully. Hello, and we're live.
Hello.
Hello, Anish. Good evening, dear viewers, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a great game going on.
This time it's sarcastic.
It's very promising at the moment. Especially the line Peter and Anish is showing.
I think there's no defense against knight e5 and everything will come off forward.
I hope so.
To be honest with you, I don't mind the draw today. I am somehow deep inside, well, for whatever reason, somehow rooting for Fabi not to lose the match in the classical part. So I wanted to be decided in the last game. With Fabi equal score, Fabi white, Fabi going all out, Magnus nervous, counter-attacking. Just, I want that.
Yeah, but I mean, if today is a draw, I think there is still a very reasonable chance of Fabiano losing in the classical part.
Yeah, over pushing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think if it's a draw today, I would say it's something like, I don't know, like 22% chance for Fabi to win in the last game, like 80% for Magnus, and 60% draw. I mean, something like this.
Yeah, I agree actually. I like the odds there. I like the 4% you gave to Fabi. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rook f8 played in the meantime, so we are.
That's what we're looking at, knight g6.
Yeah, we're sort of still on course to get this position. And now the choice clearly, having played knight h4, you're kind of supposed to justify it by either playing knight f5 or knight g6. Knight g6, yeah, it feels like knight g4 is by far the most
only movement.
yeah, maybe the only move not to be in a ton of immediate trouble.
Why? What's wrong with bishop d8?
Knight f4 we thought was quite dangerous.
Okay, bishop d7.
And let's say h3. And then
maybe
bishop c3.
Maybe I overestimate, but I thought white is better for free there.
Sort of, maybe. But,
no, but also
sure this is coming, no? Bishop c3.
Black has g5.
Yeah, g5 was something that we were not discussing.
Yeah, that's why I went f3, because I went after g5 to go knight e2,
yeah,
to have e4 square protected, and then go somewhere h4.
Okay, so now you play f3, not
no,
d6.
but
f3,
then this.
Yeah, then in this position, if we play bishop c3, there is d6, d5. This is why I was starting with h3.
By the way, how about your move rook takes e8? Just to check. Bishop takes, I guess.
Yeah, and knight g6 actually is on the board already, so... And I was actually specifically told not to use the expression on the board already, so I will stop.
Because?
I have no idea, but I was given a very specific instruction on that subject, and I will try
on the board already.
I will try to obey. Yeah.
It's because you use it too often, or?
I have no idea what is wrong with it, but.
Maybe there was nothing wrong with it the first 300 times you used it. Maybe
yeah,
that's
that could
issue.
that could be the issue. Yeah, that could be the issue. Anyway.
But Alexander, knight g4 is an attempt to draw immediately. Yeah, is there?
No, I know. That's what I mean. That it looks extremely promising. I mean, it's just dreams come true almost. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It should be checked carefully. Yeah, so probably take. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you allow bishop f6, I think like you're. I mean,
no,
but the knight still goes back. Yeah, let's go rook e2 first. Let's see if that changes.
Because now you don't have knight e5.
FG.
Ah, but
FG
yes. We win we win a ton of tempi compared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knight d3, king f7. I mean,
yes.
Black might be better.
Yes.
Black might be better.
Yeah, most likely I make draw. Yeah. I make draw. Yeah.
Yes.
Like h3, and then I trade down to bishop endgame, and then you cannot break me. But it's not a way to play on this thing.
So again, I mean, a very miserable preparation by Magnus with white. I mean, again, he sort of chooses to play on his opponent's ground. I mean, it's like playing away in like some sports games like football, basketball. So he plays on a away court. And I mean, okay, obviously, as far as I know, Fabiano only played the system with knight c6, bishop e6, queen d7, or the system with castle, knight d7, c6, d5.
Yeah.
But of course, if you are going to play on your, opponent's court or on your opponent's ground, you have to be prepared in all systems, because of course he can play any system, and this c5 is nothing new. I think it's idea of my friend Alexander Ryazantsev, and it was played a couple times by his pupil at that time, Alexandra Kostyuk.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
No, but also it's nice to know for sure that Alexander doesn't listen to this to us saying anything until he comes up.
But she is commenting, so.
No. I mean to us, not to Alexander Kostyuk, because the big discussion point today, and you said you are on the record saying that you haven't watched the video, but Anish did, or at least some parts of it, and there is a file shown in the video which says Petrov knight d7, knight f6, which makes it even more weird not to have something against it.
Yeah, maybe there is some ritual going on. Yeah, after all. Who knows?
Can I ask Alexander what he meant by saying playing on the opponent's territory and like,
No,
do you
I mean,
mean all? Yeah.
It's clear that, for example, this system with knight c3, okay, Magnus spent, I don't know, maybe like 10 hours analyzing it, and Fabiano spent hundreds of hours analyzing it. This is what I mean, basically. I mean, definitely spent many times more hours.
So you prefer knight d3 try, yeah? You prefer this try? When he played knight. But like, what should Magnus do? He's cornered. I mean, what should he do?
Oh, this is another story, but okay, I mean, he can play some, I don't know, knight f3, b3, like I do sometimes, or something like that. I mean,
on move 1, you mean?
Knight f3, b3.
Yeah, or whatever. I mean, even then, yeah, I mean, okay, if he is not. Or I mean, play the style of last game. I mean, playing something which is definitely objectively completely nothing, but then you will be prepared better than your opponent. I mean, this is the only thing white is better than black nowadays. That okay, he has more choice basically in the opening.
Yeah, that's also the philosophy Vladimir Kramnik is shared with me. By the way, knight g4 has happened. I mean,
and knight e7 is already played. So
Magnus better be prepared. Otherwise, this is going to peter. Out.
Peter, out. Yeah.
No, or I mean, before the match, he should have chosen something and just, you know, maniacally analyze it. So then you are, you know, at your home court. I mean, if you spend really hundreds of hours, even let's say on this system with knight c3, because it's still not completely analyzed to death, at least by existing theory.
No, certainly not now. No.
And he played rook e2, so I guess
so
maybe.
95 is just
I guess he wants to go bishop f4 and claim that the d6 pawn is hanging and we will pick it up. But
even if you will, rook d7.
Yeah, this has to be a draw.
Rook d7.
Well, this just has to be a draw, right?
Just rook d7.
Yeah, rook d7 or rook d8. You know, I mean.
This is a good one also. Because you threaten bishop c4, so if you take, I thought I can take and play rook d8.
Yeah, exactly.
rook d8, of course.
And already draw grid.
Yeah, just take on c4, and even yeah. No, but this is just a draw, right?
Oof.
And this is already played.
You cannot preserve the bishop pair by going some desperate bishop e4 because c4 pawn is gonna.
No, I don't think you will ever have enough compensation here. Black doesn't have enough weaknesses.
Yeah, just which move to make a point? Bishop takes? Or?
Actually, bishop takes and d5. You have bishop f5. I forgot about the f5 square.
Yeah, I mean, just I'm sure there is.
But so what? D5, D4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just push it to d4.
But black is just clearly better, no?
Better, yeah, I'm just trying to see if there is anything to stop knight takes d3.
No, this is
bishop f4, knight d3, bishop d6. Okay, it's just bad for many reasons. Rook d7 is the clearest one. Yeah, there is also knight take b2. So yeah, this is unplayable. So it's basically a draw. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like this is the game is kind of over. Which is, you know, good on some level, but really
not for Magnus. Not for Magnus and not for his team of seconds, no.
Yeah. And
it reminds me again. I will quote one of my favorite chess books. This 2 matches or whatever it's called by Bareev and Levitov. So at some point, Bareev says that Kramnik said to them, "Come on!" I mean, this quote I was reminded by what Magnus said. He said that my guys are working their asses off.
Yeah.
He said that at some point on the match. So apparently Kramnik said to them at some point, "Okay guys, you really are working a lot, but I need concrete results. I need to know which line I can play and which I cannot."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are, by the way, here.
I remember that conversation.
We are here.
I remember that conversation, and no, No, but this.
You were actually part of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know exactly the conversation that is being referred to in that bit of the book. Yeah.
Because you were talking.
I'm pretty sure this is
this
Brissago and not London.
Yeah, I think so.
And but he also.
No. I think it's actually London with Kasparov.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
But you know, if we are missing a detail, White could be putting pressure. So let's see if we are missing one. I mean, suppose I win a pawn and don't trade all the rooks. There's also potential for trading all the rooks and winning a c5 pawn, yeah?
Yeah, but I think that is a draw. Let's say, let me show you a line, which I don't think this happens, but let's say it does happen somehow. Rook a g8, rook e g2.
d5, take everything, bishop b8, a6. You mean, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, there's always, I mean, g2 is always hanging, so you never actually have enough tempi here to make all of your moves. But let's say we do get, I don't know, something like this. Yeah. It's just a dead draw anyway.
Yes. Yeah, but I was trying to, like, if I would pick up the d6 pawn and keep the c4 pawn, then we're talking.
Yeah, then it's very playable. You get those sometimes in. I think recently there was a number of games where I think MVL won a couple in St. Louis, right? Maybe one against Anand.
In the Berlin or what?
In the Berlin, in the proper Berlin, where you get similar structures.
But it was a draw as well. He won somehow, but it was also a draw.
Yeah, of course it is objectively equal. But what I mean is, it is possible to lose them, and even very strong players will lose them occasionally. Yeah. But yeah, this you just don't lose.
I mean, that time it was also rapid. Vishy was tired. There were all kinds of factors.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm just wondering, can he simply, you know, this is already.
You're not winning. You're not even winning.
King c1 maybe, but okay, it's not.
Yeah.
Rook c8 even. And then bishop e6.
Yeah, you don't even win a pawn, yeah. And then you covered the d7 square. You can, if need be, go b6.
But I like even with my record in opposite color bishops, bishop endings. I mean, I am reasonably confident I will hold the position of the bishop e6 here. Seriously, guys.
By the way, it's maybe a strange question to ask, but it's true you had few opposite color bishop endgames gone wrong.
Yeah.
Do you think it's anything other than a coincidence?
I don't know, I think the first one was so painful that... and also, like, the ones I lost that come to mind are against Kramnik. And against Kramnik, he was never an easy person for me to play against. And, you know, there's all these... You feel like you're in some kind of a repeated cycle of pain when you once again get something very similar.
Flashbacks,
to yeah. So I think it was more about me playing against Vladimir than anything else. But I mean, I haven't, apart from those games, I don't think I had very many nightmares in opposite color bishop endings.
But later you did regain your ground to Vladimir, and you've beaten him in some nice games with the white pieces, right?
Yeah, there was a period when I was doing okay, and then that period ended, and now I'm struggling quite seriously again. But yeah, like between I think 2011 and 2013, there was a golden period when I won more games against him than either before or afterwards in my entire career. Yeah, and we're talking about my career, which I understand is not really the topic here, because there's not a lot happening. Let's discuss, I mean, the big question of the day then becomes something we already discussed and dismissed, but seeing this, let's return to it. Is he actually shifting the focus to game 12 and saying I don't need my white game anymore?
Yeah, but I mean, again, he was caught in the opening and he was afraid to meet queen a5 with some...
He was caught, yeah?
b3, a3 to let, I don't know, I guess black was going to play b5, yeah?
a3, c4,
A3, yeah, actually...
c4.
Yeah, I think that the point is to go c4 and then knight e4 and then d5. And it is quite quite direct and quite dangerous for white as well, from what I remember.
And just knight c3 is...
yeah, it's a big threat already.
Yeah, maybe you can go bishop d4, protecting it, but then you don't attack anything. You want, of course, to... And then maybe I go b5, queen away, and...
No, of course, it's a position that you don't want to play unprepared, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, are we actually saying this is poor preparation?
Of course.
We have to say that, yeah. I mean, he cannot be...
I mean, it's kind of extensive, but of low quality.
No, specifically today, because specifically today, I think, with the position we have on the board right now, move 20, there are two versions. This is just extremely poor quality preparation, or they just decided it's fine to play a one-game match.
No, I don't think so. I think, yeah, he was trying to get some little edge, but he just was not prepared enough.
Also, you know, sometimes you have certain preparation, like here, yeah? Often, I mean, you probably had the same, Alexander, I guess, all active players. Very often what I have when I go to games, for example, is I'm playing this line and my opponent plays three variations. Let's say one is knight c6, bishop e6, long castle, one is c6 d5, and one is knight f6 c5. And I have two great ideas against two of the three systems. And against knight f6 c5, I haven't been able to find one. So then I go to the game and I think, well, there is a chance I'm gonna hit him with something in two of the three lines. And if the third one happens, okay, I'm gonna play this slightly better / equal endgame. So maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, this is also might be the case. But I don't know if he just started to think so seriously after knight f6 c5 that I'm not completely sold by this theory. But yeah, might be the case.
Yeah, and
do you know, is it true that today Sergei Karyakin made the first move in their game?
yeah.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts about it?
Well, we thought it was kind of funny and touching, and why not?
Touching. Good word.
No, but I think for a person who, you know, sort of screams at every corner that I want to be a world champion, this is extremely humiliating to be making the first.
Is he still saying those things?
Yeah, of course.
But why is it humiliating? I mean, you could also see it like he's one of the... Okay, legends is a big word. Okay, let's say that. He is one of the legends of our game. And he got a chance.
What is legend? I mean, legend. He's not a legend.
No,
he's the current strong player, but how,
yes. Okay, he's one of... Okay, no, let's not use that word. Yeah, I knew you were going to dislike it. He's one of the most promising players of the modern times. And that is why he got an opportunity to do the ceremonial first move. I mean, ceremonial first move is done by famous people, right? It's been done by actors of the sportsmen.
Yes, but I think, you know, I mean, if you are making the first move and you are not just a celebrity, but a professional in this sport, yeah, in which you are making this first move, then it means you are either a retired legend or just a complete kid. Like, let's say it was Pragnanda, that it was fine, you know, when you're 12 years old or whatever. But if you are like sort of in the middle of your career, you want to become the world champion, or at least you say so, I mean, it's just, I think it's extremely humiliating.
No, I don't disagree entirely. I just, once again, I think we would need to go into a kind of an in-depth discussion of exactly where Sergei Karyakin's career is headed right now, which is really not the topic of this broadcast.
Yeah, but for the record, by the way, Sergei did come extremely close to become a world champion last championship, and he's been leading against Magnus Carlsen, and then goes to lead, went to the tiebreak and lost the tiebreak. So Sergei definitely has something to build on. Let's put it that way.
No, of course.
By the way, this is what I meant. Now Magnus is getting that pawn, I think. That's what I meant.
Is he?
Like,
because you'll have to take with the bishop.
King.
No. But I can take now. Maybe you can still go bishop b8 and claim something, but I can take now.
I see what you mean.
It's very relevant. It's very relevant that now I have...
King c3? King b2?
Ah! Tricked me.
Very nice.
Are we going to have another Spassky Fischer?
Yes, that's Fischer. That's Robert James.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the position.
Yeah. Beautiful trick, by the way. Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful. But I guess I can play rook e8 here, yeah.
Rook d1, rook e2.
Yeah.
Rook d7?
Check.
King d2?
Check.
Okay, rook takes f2 after king c3.
No, but even bishop e6, I mean...
Then check and bishop e3. I want to pick up something.
But bishop f5.
Okay, bishop f5. Sorry.
But also rook takes f2, as you pointed out, is perfectly
that was
good
not,
enough.
Yeah, this rook d8 was not a good idea. So b3 maybe? Okay, and then bishop e6.
Just bishop e6, yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Rook e8.
I mean, still rook c8 looked a little bit cleaner, maybe.
But then rook d7.
Then b6.
That was your suggestion.
No, but seriously, are we actually going to have any trouble holding the position after a6 here?
No, but I mean, okay.
Like,
Yeah, but he
my
already
king
played
comes
d6.
maybe very...
No, I understand, but like,
Yeah, okay, also, if you just make a move, or let's say king f8, right?
bishop b8.
Bishop b8, a6, bishop a7, b5, it's
Yeah, we
probably
get-
best to...
yeah.
There are maybe some tricks because you're...
Now the king might
e6
run to a5, yeah, I don't know. But this is probably still a draw, bishop f1, and king,
here.
yeah. g6,
Oh,
h5, king
it's
d7.
Dead draw, right?
Yeah, dead draw.
If king comes here, my king
But
comes
Yeah.
here.
not king d7. Yeah.
Bishop f8.
Yeah, yeah, let's play h5.
Let's show some
Yeah.
class.
Let's play h5, g6, and...
Yeah, this is a dead draw. One passed pawn is never enough because it's going to be blocked by the
yeah,
king.
and I've already
King comes
used it
here.
maybe twice, and Anish used it once. And in general, I very much dislike people saying something is a dead draw, but this really is. Like,
Yeah.
we have all seen it so much in chat when it's used to describe things which are not a dead draw, that in general I'm very annoyed when people say that. But yeah, these positions really aren't very exciting.
Yeah, there's no shame in calling a dead draw a dead draw.
Yeah, exactly. And people have been doing the whole Monty Python, this is an X parrot, it has ceased to be beat in chat, which I really appreciate. This is sort of an X game. It has ceased to be.
Alexander, you might have to be very fast with your question of the day, otherwise we might be not in time.
Yeah, okay. I didn't prepare an exciting one, so I will make a serious one. Your list of 5 greatest players of all time, chess players. I mean.
Do you need them in order, or
Yeah, definitely.
that would be more difficult? But I'll go with yeah, the choice between Kasparov and the eventual Carlsen is an interesting one. But let's go with Kasparov, Carlsen, Fischer, Alechin, and Kappa. But I think it's so difficult that if you limit it to 5, I think people will have reasons to be aggrieved.
So once again, you said Kasparov, Fischer,
Carlsen, Fischer, and
Alechin.
I took Alechin and Kappa.
Okay.
But I mean, not mentioning Karpov feels wrong. But I don't know. I
Just
don't.
5.
Yeah, I don't know who to omit. I don't really. Probably maybe Karpov instead of Capablanca is. But I would have to sort of continue revising it for another 15 minutes, and that's really kind of pointless.
Okay, I will definitely name Kasparov, for sure. I'll have to name Fischer, but maybe before Fischer I'll put Alechin, because I reread recently Alechin's book, and I was surprised to see how modern his games were. I mean, he really, I think he changed chess from before him and after him. It was, he was probably the first player who played something we could call modern chess, you know, quite dynamic and all around. So I would call probably Kasparov, Alechin, Fischer. I'll put Magnus in there because otherwise he's going to be very upset with me, because he thinks he's the greatest player of all time, and he has his reasons to think so. And I will put probably Tal instead of Jurgen Capablanca. I'll put Tal.
No, I mean Tal is obviously a great personal preference of mine. I just like. He is like a combination of, once again, I haven't met him personally, but a combination of him as a player and him as a person is what made him extremely dear to my heart, and he remains there, you know, as my favorite chess person, maybe. But I think, yeah, once again, 5. How do you choose 5?
No, it's cruel, especially if you ask us to name like probably 5 best football players for something we have no clue about. It would be much easier, because in chess we learn to appreciate all these great players, right? You cannot fit it all in. But I was surprised actually to see that Tal's sacrifices were not as speculative as people thought back then. Many of them are reasonably approved by the engines.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean,
also I think the many dynamic players of the past, like Taimanov and Larsen, they have been somewhat underappreciated in their time, because because the authorities like Dobotvinnik were of different school of thought. So then,
yeah, for sure. But
I was by the way wondering if that's not a bit clumsy what he's doing.
yeah, I'm not sure, because one thing I would worry about here is actually,
King is a bit far.
yeah, giving white some kind of a, like, we go bishop c7 straight away, and after b5 we go. Ah, okay, but now I can take on a2. Yeah, I already thought about this. Now I can take on a2 and it's a draw because b3, c4 you will no longer. Let's just show why this is the why there's a difference. Yeah, because in this position you no longer control the c1 square.
Yeah, no, obviously we shouldn't get distracted and ask Alexander his top 5.
Yeah, my would be, first I would just completely repeat Peter's one, so it's Kasparov, Magnus. I mean, there were no titles of World Blitz champion and World Rapid champion. At the time, Kasparov or Fischer were dominating, but still, I mean, having all 3 titles at the same time is an absolutely amazing achievement. And yeah, and Magnus did that. So yeah, on second place I would put Magnus, and if anyone remembers my old interview, I would already include him to the black caviar category.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
Yeah, so already, yeah, he's a black caviar in my mind. As third, I would put Fischer. Then definitely I would put Karpov, and fifth I'm just not sure, and I mean I just don't know enough all the old players like Capablanca, Alyokhin, just don't know enough of them. I guess fifth I would put either Botvinnik or Vishanand, because both Botvinnik was world champion for many years, and Vichy as well, and especially if you take into account his rapid and blitz chess.
Yeah, that is fair.
Vichy, by the way, indeed, yeah, I forgot about Vichy. So he won so many world championship titles, so
yeah,
all sorts of formats, yeah.
Yeah,
guilty there.
I think we're all slightly guilty, but I have a feeling that whenever people ask you questions like this, you are immediately kind of severely tilted towards the past. You feel like you're supposed to name historical persons, because Vichy is still very much, the career is still very much ongoing.
He is current world rapid champion.
I am aware. I played in that event.
I'm also very well aware. He won the easiest game of last several years against me in the penultimate round of this championship.
It was very important, right? Because there was a big pack of players, and after he managed to beat you, he has...
Yeah, and then I've beaten Magnus in the last round with black, and actually I just brought the title sort of to Vichy.
Yeah, and for me, yeah, I lost. Basically, I scored 0 out of 2 against Boris Savchenko in those 2 tournaments, and it cost me. Had I won against him and I had a very nice position out of the opening in the rapid portion, I would have been in that tie for first with Vichy and the 2 other Russians. And maybe I suspect my tiebreak was better than Fedoseyev's.
Savchenko was that high at the end?
No, he was upfloated to me.
Uh-huh.
He was uploaded to me, and he played some kind of a weird Italian against me, and I kind of went to extremes not to allow any trades, and I should have been worse, but he misplayed it a bit, and I was quite significantly better. And a win in that game would have been enough for a tie for first to fourth, and I never checked because I was unhappy enough without it. But I suspect I would have been playing a tiebreak against Vichy for the title, which I wouldn't fancy myself in. My score against Vichy remains the worst I have, I think, against all players. So
that tiebreak, by the way, was played between Vichy Anand and Fedoseev from St. Petersburg, your hometown. Do you know Vladimir a little bit?
Well, we play for the same club, and yeah, I can't claim know him well, but I know him a little bit for sure. Yeah, I think he's in Moscow now. Though he is.
Ah, yeah, that's true. You think he's one of the future top players? Or is hard to
well, he is. I don't know if Sasha will agree with this comparison, but now that, let's say, we brought up the name Taimanov, I think Taimanov's maybe greatest strength as a chess player was he was, like, inherently always incredibly optimistic about his chances and about his skill level in general, I think, as well. And
optimistic about his skill level, that's a nice way of
saying it. I think Vladimir has a little bit of that in him. And I mean, it might sound like some kind of a shade being thrown, but I think this is incredibly. It buffs your rating by 50 points. I think if you believe what you're doing is correct.
It comes from the heart.
Yeah, if you actually firmly believe what you're doing is correct, it makes you stronger, because self-doubt it's very, very difficult, and I speak from experience.
Okay, I have a question then. Question of the day suddenly from me. Suddenly, just right now, just this flash of. Question to both of you. You have to name one of the most promising Russian juniors. As a Russian.
So you have to pick one.
One, and explain why he is going to be the future of Russian chess.
The next big thing.
The next big thing, yes. Some guy like whatever, Artemiev, Dubov, younger Yesipenko. Or,
yeah, but I'm just torn between Artemiev and Yesipenko.
You can talk about both then.
Yeah, both look extremely talented and promising. So I mean, just Artemiev is much older, than Yesipenko. So of course he is much stronger right now. So it's just a little bit difficult to compare.
Yeah, this is the name I always go to, but because once again it's with him we are talking about sort of unfulfilled promise. Artemiev has been around for a while. He has been Blitz world number 2 or 3 for a while now. We kind of know more or less what to expect with him. He's an extremely strong practical player. He's just very good.
2700 as well, I believe, in the classical chess. Yeah.
So once again, I have a feeling at one point we all expected a faster progression from him. Like, he played his first super final in 2015, right?
You are the specialist of
super finals.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he played.
Svidler.
I think he played the Cheetah super final, which I think was 2015, and he felt. I mean, it immediately felt like he belonged, and I don't think he returned to the super finals since.
But I think he just didn't play the qualification this year.
Very possibly, yeah. I mean, there could be various reasons for that. Maybe he just doesn't feel like playing the higher leagues is something he should be doing. But still, so he is a kind of a bit of a known quantity. And also, as I said, I have this feeling that maybe at some point we all expected him to completely blow up and become 27-50 in the next, I don't know, year and a half. And this hasn't happened yet. But his results in the shorter time controls are exceptional. He continues crushing and...
Yeah, this year he made a sort of mini Magnus thing. He won Russian Blitz Championship and Rapid Championship.
And those are strong tournaments.
And you think the fantastic results in Rapid or Blitz are necessarily? They necessarily have to correspond to your classical chess potential as well.
To the potential, definitely.
Potential.
I mean, it's not a guarantee that it will transform into results in classical chess, but in potential, yeah.
And what's so great about Yesipenko?
And Yesipenko, he is much more of an unknown quality, but I think I played 2 games against him in Saudi Arabia last year. And he is incredibly mature for his age. He, once again, also, I think it's important in young players, he's completely unafraid of anybody. The game, if you haven't seen the game Karakin Yesipenko from Riyadh, the tactics themselves are maybe not that difficult. They are difficult, but they are findable. But the fact that somebody playing his first ever game with black against Sergei Karakin just does this very confidently. Hands are not shaking. He just gives mate on the queen side. Sacrificing a number of pieces. This is somebody who has a proper approach to playing stronger players, and he, as I said, he's very mature. His positional understanding seems on point. He's also working with Sergei Shipov, who I think is universally understood to be the go-to guy for sort of young Russians who want to progress. So yeah,
yes, very pleasant. I also had some training sessions back in the day where Sergei was present, and I remember there were a lot of things to do with that. We had many coaches, so we had some part where we would play some games, some part where we would solve some studies, mostly solve studies actually, and there would be lectures. And actually, lectures by Sergei Shipov, that was really by far my favorite thing, and that he's always been very entertaining and learned a lot from those. Actually, I was fortunate enough to play Yasipenko, and I managed to beat him at Black in the King's Indian. But that was when he was even younger. So
I beat him. I beat him in Riyadh, but that game should have been a draw. I was in a lot of trouble out of the opening. Then I kind of swindled him, and was better. And he defended very, very well and should have held. And then I basically bluffed him. It was a kind of a strange game where I had an extra pawn and an opposite color bishop ending with rooks on, but my rook was extremely passive. And at some point I offered him a trade. And he just should snap trade, and it's a draw. And he looked at me strangely and thought, "Why am I being offered this?"
Yeah, like here, yeah, and he
yeah.
And
sort of, yeah.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
This has some relevance to today, and we've completely stopped talking about the game because we are waiting for Fabi to find.
For a good reason, right? I think there should be ways here to draw this confidently.
I mean, as long as you bring the the king has to.
Sooner or later.
Yeah.
And the only problem, like Alexander pointed out, is that these pawns can be skewered like that, but as long as you are in time to do h5, g6 and bring the king, you should be fine.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but basically both of them probably don't have, a near, a super bright near future, because in the last edition of New in Chess magazine, Parham Mahsodlu from Iran, he said he's going to play, I think it's 2022
yes.
World Championship match.
Yeah, but you know how it is.
So,
I mean, I've read many interviews, and I've very often the journalist sets it up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you have a conversation, and then they ask you certain questions, and then you talk about how you progress, and then the journalist asks you like, well, what is your goal? And then you say like, well, I just want to play better chess, and then the journalist wants something from you, tangible, and then he says like, well, would you imagine playing the World Championship in 2020? And the guy would say like, well, not really, but maybe 2022 was already possible. And then the headline is, I'm going to be a world champion in 2022. I mean, this is how journalists sometimes, provoke you into saying things that out of context sound a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah, I can easily see that.
I imagine. I mean, I've seen some of his interviews. I imagine he's a very modest guy. He's a very hardworking guy, and of course, the statement about 2022 sounds a little arrogant coming from someone.
Yeah, I was slightly surprised to see that, but I have a feeling this is sort of exactly how it went. And and also people are saying he has a very good sense of humor. So, these days, if some kind of a statement is not immediately followed by the smiley face, you just don't know, right? Like. We've lost the ability to detect jokes until they are pointed out to us by emotes, but it may have been just a very, very tongue-in-cheek remark.
I also read that he said he works on chess 20 hours a day. I mean,
that as well, yeah.
Yeah, but one thing for sure, the Parham is a very talented player. He became a world junior champion with 1 round to spare, and his rating right now is 2690. Which is not so bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, nowadays there are so many young, promising players. So. Firuza, also from Iran. There are two very young Indian guys, Pragnanda and Nihal Sarin. As we said, Yesipenko, Artemiev is old. He doesn't belong to this group.
And also, obviously, Vincent Kmer that our chat has already pointed out.
Yeah, Peter Leko is working with. And also, there was a Russian guy.
What do you mean, no?
No, but he's in different category. I mean, he's what, 2490? All those guys are 26 plus.
Well, he's much younger than them.
He's like 13, maybe.
He's like 13.
He's much younger than Pragnanda. It's impossible to be younger.
No, not younger than him. I mean, he's the same age, I think, as Pragnanda.
Impossible to be younger than Pragnanda. Yeah. Okay.
There was also a Russian kid called Sarana who won quite some things recently. Let's say Sarana.
Yeah. Also.
And just to finish with this, I think I'm wondering why he hasn't done this yet, but I think this is just the cleanest. We go King of Fate here. We just give you this pawn, this chair.
G4 maybe instead of, or it doesn't matter.
And then we played H5, G6. And importantly, we're in time to be on B7 when this happens. And if you play G4,
yeah, I was wondering.
Well, I think I can play Bishop H3 actually.
Bishop C7.
Yeah, I play B5. Are you actually going to kind of start a race or something?
Can I? Okay. Yeah, if I try to do it like super, I understand. It's
okay.
But I try to like super quickly bring my king here.
Yeah, king c3, I will have bishop e4.
Yeah, I think this is the biggest issue. Just like f5 here or something, or f6, f5, I guess. Yeah? Bishop e4.
Yeah, it will take me ages to create a passed pawn, and you are not even worse.
Yeah, I mean black is really not struggling here.
Yeah.
So I think this is the cleanest, but he is still tanking for whatever reason.
The thing is, here you can spend a bit of time just to make sure you don't have to spend time later when you end in mild, micro trouble where you have to figure something out. Yeah.
But I think it's a fair point that one thing you don't want to happen is to somehow in this position lose the c5 pawn when the king is still on g8, because white's the king march towards the a5 square is pretty much the only plan white has, and having to spend tempi on playing, let's say, f5, king f7, this is one thing you don't want. Probably still a draw, but why?
I mean, even playing f5 now is also, I think, completely fine.
Bishop, I don't know, b6,
yeah, 5
d6.
is a good move, king f7.
No, bishop f1.
Bishop f1 is even better.
Yeah, g3 and just king f7, yeah?
King f7, h5.
King f8, yeah.
But
king
still,
f8.
I actually, this time I checked the engines, and yeah, as we said, instead of b6, rook c8 is just zeros, and then after bishop f4, rook e8 is zeros, just exactly what we said. And now it's, okay, it's still a draw, but it's not zeros.
Yeah, computer wins a pawn and
it's
happy.
a little bit strange, because he just was not worse at all. I mean, there was no reason to go for some fortress or whatever.
But like he showed yesterday, he doesn't
okay,
care
it doesn't
about...
matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter, of course.
Fabi doesn't care about engine, like in his previous game. Engine gave 0.90, he didn't even play it out. He doesn't care about engine evaluation as long as it's just a dead
Yeah,
draw.
but I would try to play with 4 rooks. I would try to play a little bit. Because with 2 rooks...
Ah, you mean that game, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit pointless, because I think I already had the exactly same endgame against Magnus in Bill some 12 years ago.
He knows
and
how
we
it's
drew,
done. Yeah.
so with 2 rooks it's kind of pointless, but with 4 rooks, okay, I would have played for a while.
Yeah, this is what Fabi does, very sensible. You bring the king immediately, like Peter said, and then you can start with h5 if you wish.
Just go h5, king
and
d7.
go
You're
with
just
bishop of 1 if need be.
yeah, we're just not losing this position.
No.
Actually, Engine said an interesting thing, that in the endgame, after rook e2 95, okay, not very interesting, but there is move bishop c3.
Okay.
Yeah, I take with the rook, and then I force you to play g6.
Aha.
Okay, I mean, it's not a big deal, but at least if you really want to fight, you can try.
Karakin style, yeah?
I mean,
Karakin style. Remember how you told the story about Sergei regretting not having played h4?
yes. No, but I mean, the most amazing thing is this game, Carlsen-Caruana from the candidates, yeah, when he wins with this exchange sacrifice,
Brilliant
which,
game,
hardly can be called a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then at the press conference, with completely serious face, he said, yeah, I was immensely helped by the fact that I really badly needed to win this game, so it was kind of easy to decide on this sacrifice, and otherwise I'm not sure I would have had enough courage to go for it. I mean, this sort of, sacrifice in air quotes, I mean, you can do it even if a draw is enough for you to advance to the next round.
Some players more materialistic than others, perhaps, yeah? Maybe.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
it's
not-
just
not
out of your mind materialistic. I mean,
Yeah.
unless he was trolling. I mean,
I think journalists like that. I'm not sure he's trolling, but journalists like that. I like the quotes there.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, but I actually I heard it live, because at the same time I finished my game against
You had to wait.
Taroyan in a draw, and I had to wait. Yeah, and I hear this, and
yeah, but I have a feeling it was slightly tongue-in-cheek, at least. I mean, he definitely is a good enough player to understand that you make that move every time, and then you think.
Yeah, somehow you Russian people are like that. I mean, that's exactly what Kramnik said, exactly what Tomaszewski said. I didn't think it was that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it must be some Russian thing that for you guys this sec comes so naturally. I mean, I saw it, of course, but
I don't know.
I would also
I was
hesitate
doing
a
it from
little
this studio, and the moment it became available, I said, yeah, we should do this. And
Yeah, I like some education. Me and Fabiano, the Western guys, he also didn't see it as a crushing blow.
No, but it's not a crushing blow, but it's just completely risk-free and.
yeah, the point
promising.
is not that it wins. The point is that it's impossible to imagine you not playing it. I think this is the argument. Not that it wins the game every
Yeah,
time.
well, what they were saying, Kramnik and Evgeny, that it's impossible to allow it. Do you agree there?
Ah,
I mean, it just depends on how you evaluate the position if you don't allow it. This
So-
is
You think you
the
can
big
construct it?
question.
maybe.
Yeah, I think I also can long castle.
So yeah,
E3, I believe, or
I
King B1 first.
something like that. Yeah. So
Rook G8 was played at some point. Bishop E2 was played at some point. Long castle. Knight D4 was played at some point. Take C5. Bishop E3. D5.
F4.
Bishop. Yeah. Oh yeah. F4. And somewhere Bishop F3. Bishop G4. Bishop D5. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like already H6, Bishop F3. I think.
H6. Bishop F3. Yes.
Yeah, this position.
Yeah, it was this
pretty
position.
much this position. Yeah, we're talking about this exchange sacrifice, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's impossible not to play this. Like how do you look yourself in at yourself in the mirror later?
Yeah. You,
I mean-
you
I
must.
mean-
You
I
must
mean,
have
this
read
is
some Russian book.
No, but look, come on,
Yeah.
this bishop is not worse than a
No,
rook.
I've seen the game. I mean, by now it's in my system, but at that point, I liked it. But I didn't.
No,
I don't know.
but also,
It's
I
an
mean,
exchange.
to add to this is like everything else is
Queen
more.
F2. Queen F2. Take Rook D2. Rook D1.
No. This is the thing that he says that Queen E2 is extremely promising, which
it?
I don't understand why. Black just plays Queen C6, Rook D7, Rook GD8,
Rook D2.
Bishop
Okay,
F8.
but then you are very passive. Then I push G4, and here you are risk-free, and also material is equal. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the other one. But
Yeah,
once
me-
again, obviously, we are slightly results oriented. But honestly, I'm taking the other one.
Yeah, I, had
I
the
think
same,
I have.
mean,
I think I
same
have. I
experience
have
with
better
Kramnik
chances.
And Tomaszewski. Yeah, like 4 Russian people told me like this is a must.
Yeah.
Must.
No, I go for this one.
No, the big question is if Black plays without Bishop G4, what should he do and how unpleasant his position is. I mean, if it's really unpleasant without Bishop G4, then maybe you go for Bishop G4 and just, hoping to somehow hold on after Bishop G4, Bishop D5.
We're completely off topic here suddenly, discussing some game of...
Okay,
No,
but
not
should
completely
we
off topic.
discuss this endgame? I mean,
Yeah, no, it's true, it's true.
Yeah, an H5. I mean, the
very also quite clean how he's how Fabi's done it. Yeah, the
Yeah.
king is already there, the pawns are already there. It's all
yeah,
nice.
and there is like one idea for white to
King to-
create a pass. Yeah, king to G5 and G3 H4. I mean G3 H4 F3 G4 somehow. But it's always met by Bishop E2 before white is in time to play
Yeah,
G.
bring the
It
king
never
here.
works.
So let's say I bring the king here. You go, you go F. But I will sort of
just bishop e2 here.
here, yeah. And I'll put it here.
It just kills everything off
Yeah.
because you will never be in time to play g4.
No,
and also, I mean, once the
Consider pushing
king
forward.
leaves the g5 square, you can actually play f7, f5, and then the question will
Yeah, the
just
king F7. Yeah, but
it will just disappear altogether.
it's typical for these opposite color bishop endgames, in fact, to follow the king. Yeah, like this, and then like all the way, like this. Like
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
typical that you're sort of you follow
Yeah,
it somehow.
Peter sort of knows this
Yeah.
defensive idea.
I've learned that idea after. No, I mean, nobody knows the full story about that game. Like, it's not a very exciting story, but like, Kramnik told me after the game. Basically, for those of you, for the 3 people in chat who are not aware of why everybody is laughing, I resigned against Kramnik in Vaikanze maybe 2004, I want to say.
This is not why I showed this idea. I forgot.
No, it's fine.
Sorry.
Trust me, it's fine by this point. I resigned in a completely drawn position, and actually, recently I looked through that game. It's even more shameful than I thought, because I think the end game we started with, I'm slightly better with black. And I kept playing this endgame for a draw and allowing more and more stuff I shouldn't be allowing, and ended up in a slightly worse position. And then I defended it perfectly between move 30 and 40. And the position after move like 42 is completely drawn. And
But you are 2 pawns down.
but I am 1 pawn down, and I have to give up the second one. And Kramnik makes his final move and gets up off the board, and I sit there thinking for a while, and I realize I'm losing the second one. And then I signed the score sheets in his absence, both his and mine, stopped the clock, and he comes back to the board, okay, shakes my hand, and he told me, my first reaction was, did Peter claim a draw and the arbiters agreed with him? And that I thought was extremely funny, because he knew it's a dead draw, and he thought, okay, I mean, we know the game ends in a draw, but somehow it's not supposed to end until I make some moves. But I can see that the score sheets are signed. So did Peter manage to convince the arbiters that there's nothing left to play? And I said, no, I resigned. And he said, yeah, that probably is a mistake. And explained why, and I wasn't very happy.
Yeah, okay.
But okay.
Yeah, I forgot even how that game went, so I just wanted to demonstrate the idea.
And people asking, why did you resign? I am 2 pawns down in an opposite color bishop ending, and I thought they were queening, and they really aren't queening anywhere.
Many people resign because they don't want to suffer, in general.
No, yeah, I thought it's just completely lost.
I mean, they think they're losing anyway, and they don't want to. Like, in general, why would anyone resign before it's checkmate? Is because you don't want to suffer.
You don't want to see.
Also, I mean, you are 1-1, yeah, in the resignations and drawn position.
Yeah, there's also the game against Eric Lobron, yeah.
And it was much more important one than the game against Kramnik.
Did we only win +1 this match, or?
But it was just board points at that time.
Ah, yeah, true. That, in the '96 Olympiad in Yerevan, and once again, it would be nice to reconstruct the position, but I don't think I can manage. And I completely forgot. It's been match points for so long that I forgot that Olympiads actually used to count on board points. And yeah, Eric defended a bad endgame against me for a very long time, and eventually he just needed to calculate one line. And the fun thing about that line is that it is absolutely forced. There are really no deviations anywhere, and it ends up in a position. Yeah, I really wish I could do something. I mean, there are bishops on the board. And like it ends in a pawn endgame. Let's get rid of them somehow. It's not easy. You two guys are the specialists, but basically, like the position where he resigned, I have a rook and a c pawn, and he has pawns on f and h, and the h pawn is on h2. And he can win the rook for the h pawn, but my king is just in time to pick up the f pawn, and it looks like he is not in the square. Mm-hmm. But he actually gets there in time and wins the c3 pawn back. And he just believed me and resigned. And yeah, people sort of immediately told him, and he also wasn't very happy.
Speaking of assigning his course, I remember you told me once a very funny story. I'm not sure if the audience knows the one you had with Timon, how gracious he was. That's incredible story actually.
Yeah, that is...
on the topic of graciousness.
Yeah, that was a... I mean, some parts of that story are probably best left untold, but... last round of the '98 Olympiad, I was playing Jan Henrik on board 1. We played the Netherlands, and we needed to win quite big because the Americans were chasing us. And in those years, I still allowed Berlins when people tried to play the Berlin against me, and I had a very good score against the Berlin without really understanding what I was doing. And I was slightly worse by move 15 with white as usual. And I mean, I will mention this because it's kind of relevant to what's to come. It wasn't a lista, so I ate something dodgy that day, and I felt incredibly poorly. Like the entire game was a struggle, frankly. And because my position wasn't good, I was also in quite significant time trouble at one point, so I couldn't leave the board. And by move 40, I have completely equalized, and we're playing some kind of a position where I have an extra exchange. And he has a bishop on the b1 h7 diagonal, and a pawn on c3 and a king on b2. And I can never attack it because my king is on e1, and as long as he doesn't do anything stupid, this is just a positional draw because the passer is just too strong. So I got it to move 40. I checked the score sheet to make sure I don't lose on time, and I got up from the board and just left because I really kind of needed to leave the board at that point. And I returned to the board, and the score sheets are signed. Timon is nowhere inside, and you know, the kings say I won. And I thought this looks kind of improbable because A, my position is not better, and B, like, why would I win this? I have no threats, I did not attack any pieces or anything.
Is Kramnik reversed there for you, yeah?
Sort of, yeah. And what happened was, basically to get to move 40, we were making pointless moves. He was playing like bishop b4, bishop f5, bishop g6, and I was playing rook c5, rook c6, rook c7, or so on. And I placed a rook on a slightly unusual square. Like, I could attack the bishop, but I chose on move 40 not to attack the bishop, but to put it on some square. I don't know, c6. And he didn't really look at where I put the bishop, put the rook. And he just played bishop g6 instead of bishop f5 and released the hand. And I don't know how many people saw it, but like, he's just putting the bishop on freeze for no reason. None whatsoever. And he did not try to claim that he was adjusting or anything. People told me later that like he looked at it in disbelief for like 5 seconds, and then left it on g6, took my score sheet, signed it, and left.
Yeah, it's crazy. You were not even there to witness it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
And do you win thanks to rook take g6, c2, rook b6?
Yeah,
check,
rook b6 check, and yeah, and then the pawn doesn't queen. Yeah, so that was one of those weird ones.
Okay, so you are even positive for such things.
Net,
The life karma.
yeah, net positive. Yeah.
Anything to say about this position? So, if white king goes to f6, is that a big deal at all? Let's
No.
say you bring the king to... Okay, let's say I go. How many ways to...
Even bishop d1, I think.
Okay, let's say you do that. You can... Yeah, I guess you can even meet king f6 with king e8 and let the bishop stop. Like,
Yeah.
go like here, and bishop will stop any
Mhm.
sort of pawn advance, block them. I mean, block these squares. Because I imagine, like, if white would get king f6 and some sort of f4, f5 break, maybe.
Yeah, this is another idea, yeah. I said there is just one, to play h4, f3, g4,
Let's say I
and
put the bishop
pushing
here,
for
let's
f5.
say, and then I sort of try to switch. It's already a bit
Although-
nasty. It's quite nasty already.
Why?
Because I'm coming somewhere. No?
Ah,
You have... Yeah, I mean, it is a bit nasty. So maybe you should keep the king on d7 and protect the this pawn with the bishop, but then if you do that... I do want to go f4, f5, yeah? No, I don't. If I go f5...
no, but
you
even
take-
even that, why is that? Ah, and then you go h4 and you give me this pawn, yeah?
You mean, like...
Like if I go bishop b3 here.
Yeah.
But if I
that's
can go bishop
unpleasant,
c2
right?
first of all, no? Like, why is this unpleasant? We just got rid of more pawns
This
for...
is clever move, bishop c2. It's a clever move.
Oh, that's just... Yeah, we can... I think we can easily allow this with black.
Yeah, this is just very clever, yeah. And if here I try some h3...
Bishop b6. No, I think...
Once again, you can even take this one and create this illusion of asymmetry, but then you have the bishop on f5. Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah.
like this is not really asymmetric. You just block all.
No,
These two
this
are
is- yeah.
compensating for these two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, there are no ideas then. Well, what is probably something you shouldn't be allowing is this thing. I think this is a bit nasty because now I'm
Yeah,
coming to,
here you actually
I don't
start... You will have to start thinking.
you have to probably put the you probably put the king to b7, abandon the king side, and
Oh, yeah,
probably
even,
hold.
Yeah. You might hold even this, but here white will
Okay,
start thinking
I
that...
made some
yeah,
progress,
Yeah,
yeah.
you made some progress, and yeah, this is kind of... Apologies,
You know,
this is kind of annoying.
one time Veselin Topalov lost a very drawn opposite color bishop endgame against Vishy Anand in a World Championship match. It really happened. Topalov against Anand, he lost a drawn opposite color bishop endgame. Yeah, no, I mean that 100% happened.
In
this,
Sofia?
yeah, in this line, yeah, that he was playing. Okay, it was at some point bad, but then at some point it was just a dead draw, and he just...
Oh yeah, no, on the subject of me losing completely drawn bishop, opposite color bishop endings, I remember that
Topalov,
I also lost to Topalov
I
in,
was
a,
his teammate, yes.
in a European Club Cup. Yeah,
I didn't want to point that out because...
So you say Topalov lost it with white?
No, Topalov lost... Vishy lost it. Yeah, Vishy lost it with black against Topalov. Yeah, this end game. And then they got to...
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people are confirming that it was the other way around, that Topalov won.
Yeah,
this,
Topalov won because Topalov was playing with white and Vishy was black, so Topalov
Yeah.
won a drawn with color bishop endgame against Vishy. Because Vishy suddenly...
But maybe there were rooks or something?
No, just with color endgame bishop.
pure?
Yeah, like something, it was similar to, let's say, let's say, some kind of vibe on the queen side that you couldn't make progress, but it seemed like you could, and somehow he went astray. Very uncharacteristic of Vichy, because Vichy generally is extremely good at this fortress type of things. You can probably look it up. I don't know which game it was, like somewhere like around game 9 or something. Towards the end, they were very tired, and Topalov equalized probably the score with this game.
Where was that?
Yeah, this match, Sofia, no?
Ah, the actual World Championship
Yeah,
match. Why don't I remember that game?
Well,
And me too, neither. I remember this match very well. I remember lots of games from it. Started with Grunfeld.
yeah, look,
very
Topalov
nice
defeats
victory by
Anand, like, you
Veselin.
see this one. There's a video even
Ah,
of
yeah.
this. Let's see which number is that.
Game 8, people are saying.
Game 8, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just look up the position to see how it compares to this one.
Yeah. In our actual.
Yeah, it was a nasty one, yeah. You see, it was quite nasty.
No, but this actually looks trickier than the one they have here, because the pawns are broken up and. No, I'm not sure if this works. Yeah, but.
You see, guys.
But I'm pretty sure people can sort of do the same Google search than you did and look for game 8 of there.
It was nasty opposite color bishop endgame, but at some point it was a draw, I remember.
Can you show it to me?
Where is your camera? What do you see? Like, do you see it like this or?
No, I see yours. Ah, I can change. Yeah, one moment. Yeah, I can change.
Yeah.
The monitor. Now I have this second monitor, but there is nothing on it.
Ah, yeah, because we're not actually doing the video call.
Ah,
so,
okay,
yeah.
okay. No.
Sasha will actually have to do some clicking.
You see? Oh yeah, now you must see it.
High-tech stuff. Proper high-tech stuff. And okay, Magnus did something which I really did not expect. I mean, like, how are you winning now? He played b3.
Okay, but he's not trying. I mean, there's no win, yeah, so you don't have to.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I shouldn't act all that surprised, but like after I think once you play b3, you have zero chance, because black will now be able to force you to play both c3 and b4 before the king gets free, and then the king just never gets to a5, and like it's just.
Ah, yeah. It was leading to this one, yeah. Let's see, click for larger view.
No, come on, this is.
Leading to this one. This position.
I don't
is
think
a draw.
people. Ah, okay. Maybe this actually is visible.
This position is a draw, and this is what Vichy missed.
I cannot see.
But you're not watching the stream, probably. Yeah, you're like watching the stream would be confusing. It's visible on the stream, but
yeah. Okay, so it's good.
It's not that important. So b3, bishop d1, king d3, but yeah.
But this endgame is nothing like that. That's a very easy draw.
Yeah, exactly. I think Vichy actually like had scope to go astray in that endgame.
Oh yeah, it was actually far from this position still. Yeah, I mean it was not so simple as I remembered. It was looking very difficult.
No, and here we can just go like bishop, king d5 is perfect.
Gain some space.
Yeah, start dominating. Assert
king
dominance.
D5 offer a draw. You want to draw?
Yeah.
It's the last time I'm offering it.
Assert dominance by putting the king in the center.
He's a dominator.
Okay, so there is like one game left, and I think there is one issue.
Okay.
That, you know, like, have you read this Dark Tower cycle by Stephen King?
Yes. And I really enjoyed it until he introduced this character called Stephen King in it. And from that moment on, it kind of lost much of its appeal.
Yeah, and you know, it's sort of, you know, like sometimes universe is sort of resisting something,
yeah?
Or, you know, fighting against something, yeah? When you are coming really close, then the whole universe, you know, starts to act against you. And now this is what I think is the case about game 12, that normally, draw should be a big favorite, but I feel that the whole universe will be fighting against it. So like, for example, Serena Williams some years I mean, some years ago, she got extremely close to winning a Grand Slam. Yeah, so she won Australian Open, then Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and then she went into semi-final of US Open, and she was playing against some heavy underdog in the semi-final, and there was huge, how to say, agitage.
Yeah.
Excitement.
Agitation, I don't know.
Yeah.
About this game, yeah, because she had just 2 wins away from winning the Grand Slam. And this is an extremely rare occurrence in tennis. It didn't happen for like, I don't know, 30 years or something, neither in men's section or in women's section.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the prices for tickets went up like, I don't know, more than 10 times. It was like something like the ticket which was supposed to cost $100 was costing 5,000. And
Are we talking
like
scalpers, obviously? Yeah, we're not talking officially, or even officially.
No, probably, yeah, probably. I mean, semi-officially. I mean, I don't think it's completely underground, like selling it on some Ali or something.
eBay or whatever, yeah. Okay.
eBay, yeah. And then playing against a heavy underdog, she just lost in 2 sets, playing her worst match like in many years.
But Alexander, don't
So
you
it was
think
like,
if Universe, if Universe wanted 12 draws not to happen, the Universe would have intervened by now somehow?
no, but I think it's the thing is the closer you get.
The more
something,
Universe wants to.
Yeah, of course.
Universe first lets you like hope that it will resolve on its own, but if it doesn't resolve on its own, then in the end, Universe like, okay, it's enough. I'm joining in. I'm stopping this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he didn't play King
He
This
G5.
is my fear. Yeah.
I think I understood why he doesn't want to allow the passed pawn, whatever.
Why? But it's just like I think
Yeah,
this is
it's
a
a
much
pass
simpler
pawn.
drum, because now you can. I mean, the difference being that now we can actually
Before-
control the c pawn. Like a6 is no longer a
Yeah,
weakness.
but you go here, and then try to do this. Yeah, I mean.
Try to do what? exactly?
Yeah,
Like,
he didn't want to allow the pass pawn and went bishop g4. Yeah, Magnus went c4. It's the same, yeah. He will anyway go.
yeah, I
It's
think.
basically the same. I mean, now also he can chop it.
I think we can tie. Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
think.
it just doesn't matter again.
Yes, like we said, the important thing about these positions is that once the king is on f6, bishop is on c4, it's still the draw, right?
Yeah, and I will allow one joke of that kind today, and that will be Dodgy saying, if the universe wanted 12 draws, then Anish would have won the candidates. No more,
He didn't play, yeah?
no more of this, but I will allow one.
Oh my god, I like it. You know, I mean, I've seen so many, and I thought they run out of the funny ones, but I'm always
Yeah,
happy
yeah.
when to see that there are some funny jokes.
Yeah, this one because it's well put. I'm allowing it only because it's sort of well crafted, and
It's good. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, in general, I don't agree with the topic, and yeah,
Because my approach has been to try to make all the draw jokes so that like people sort of like the Meyer thing, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
to publish like these are all the jokes. Can we please stop this? But it seems that
Yeah.
they just never run out as long as people keep on working.
yeah.
Keep on working.
But please no more. I mean, I think we've exhausted the topic
No,
with this
that's
one.
okay. I think I was just ahead of my time. I mean, if you used to see this match, I was back then and I was like, oh, look at this guy, he's stupid now. Who's talking now? Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody is doing this now.
Yeah, and Fabi just doesn't want to take on c4. He
Yeah.
feels that this way.
Because he controls the king this way, yes, somehow.
Yeah, the
cannot
king cannot even run.
He
Yeah.
cannot go king before c5.
Okay, but he's
But it's a little bit strange because now
It's
white
fine.
can take, play king c3,
Get the a pawn, yeah.
because now white can get an a.
But a pawn is even
no?
but Alexander is even worse because a pawn is gonna be bad corner pawn. I will give the bishop on the king side for,
Ah,
so it's
Yeah.
even more drawn.
yeah.
No, Fabiano, he likes this game. Like Magnus, he's wasting. Remember, like last time,
Me,
Magnus is wasting his time, but Fabiano is showing him like, okay, it's anyway draw that I'm gonna also play those finesses. You know, I'm not gonna take on c4, like, you know, like.
yeah, but it's like but at first, because at first he gets into a little bit of a trouble from the completely equal position, like today, like this
mean
game
it's
he was white in Rossolimo, you know. First he gets into some sort of trouble and then he starts to defend very well. So this
Yeah.
is a little bit weird.
But of course, I mean, you are half joking when you say trouble here, I assume, right?
No, but I mean, yes, but okay.
Because
now
you know,
he is
if let's say
defending.
you can sort of have the zeros, but there are rooks on the board, and there.
And what? Yeah, but okay, I'm going to play bishop e6, f6,
No, but,
king f7.
One thing, like I keep on returning to this, but I think it's kind of relevant. One thing I don't understand is why just not an h5 or a6 here? Because the only reason there is even like a semblance of a winning chance here is because the pawn's not on b7. With the pawn on b7, like we agree that there is zero winning chances,
that's
right?
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, makes sense.
Because white will never have enough
your
time to
point,
reach
I see your point.
anything.
Yeah.
So why not just give it up with the pawn? Like I go a7, a6, and I look you in the eye here. Like I
Yeah.
mean, bishop c5. I would take. I go h5, g6.
I see your point. But
Maybe
there are too many
even
pawns.
h5, g6, f5. And with the pawn on b7, like I'm never losing this, right?
Yeah, not also in the game you're not losing. So in that regard, it's
Yeah,
all,
sure.
all
I mean,
irrelevant talk. But I see what you mean. I see your point.
Yeah. But okay, I mean, clearly some very serious work would be required for black to be in any kind of trouble here.
Can we just one more time do this, like to be sure that
Yeah, okay,
if
sure.
I do this thing here, I don't have any ideas?
Yeah, it was... Yeah, bishop b6, I guess.
Yeah, here I even have this.
Yeah, bishop d5, and exactly. Yeah, this is the. I think this is the
I
point.
don't get.
I was
anything
looking.
here.
Yeah, you play king g5 first. But then I guess we
move
can
the
even go bishop g4. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, suppose my king is not participating at all.
Yeah.
Is this a dead draw on the right side of like in this square, you know, whatever it is, like 6 by 4? Is that a draw? Can your king not create anything without my king? It is, yeah? That's what we are saying.
No, the only thing I could find, I thought, like, let's say, if king g5 and you pass,
Suppose.
and I go f3
Bishop
here,
d5?
and now I go king f4. And now maybe you have to start
Yeah.
calculating.
Pass?
Pass g4?
One more pass?
Again?
Yeah, but g8, g8, king g3, f4,
Yeah,
king h4.
yeah, like this, exactly.
g8, g8?
King g3?
No, it's a draw though. f5 and then bishop to g4?
This you might lose, because I will have h3 and then king g5.
No, but I will have bishop g2 after h3. I think it's okay. So suppose I go f5.
f4, clearly.
I go here or something.
Okay.
I go here.
Yeah, h3, bishop
Bishop
f1.
f1. Yeah.
Hang on. In
Bishop
fact,
g4. Bishop g4.
and then you leave. You don't.
I leave.
You don't stay on g4. This is
Exactly.
important because I
It
think
is very
I
important.
think if you play king c6, you might actually
No,
lose
then,
this.
then I'm losing. Yes.
Yeah, you might actually
Yeah,
lose
my
this.
point is that actually, indeed, I leave, and then after h3, I go bishop f1.
Yeah.
So even this position only played out without
Yeah.
my king.
No,
it's
I
still
have a
draw.
feeling the bishop just holds this without the
Bishop
king.
simply holds.
Yeah, the bishop holds without the
So
king.
then we are not talking about. There's nothing to talk about. If that's the case.
Yeah, there's not a lot to talk about here in general. Anyway, okay, he brought.
What is your favorite book by Stephen King?
He wrote this, but I will shamefully not remember what they're called. The second one is called Desperation. What is the first one called? He wrote a couple of books. One of them is not by Stephen King. One of them is by Richard Bachman, which is his nom de plume. One is called Desperation, and the other one is called... It's shameful that I have to look this up. Okay, chat, help me out. Those two I really, really liked. But once again, that was ages ago. And I might have a different opinion on it now. I liked it when I read it. And honestly, like the first 2 or 3 volumes of The Dark Tower I enjoyed quite a bit. And until he became the main character of it. That I felt was slightly unnecessary. I'm still
So
waiting.
we have quite a different taste, because mine would be this Shawshank, yeah?
Okay, but that's, I mean, that's a short story. I mean, like,
What do you mean short story? I mean, it's like, I don't know, 400 pages or something.
is it?
300 pages. No, I mean, it's not short. How it's short? I mean, there is a movie on that, yeah?
Yeah, the movie is long, but the story I think is quite short actually.
Okay, you can check, but Okay.
The regulators, finally. Yeah, the regulators slash the desperation. Or just desperation. And I thought those two were extremely good, but...
And also the one about the, how to say, about the Nazi guy who takes, you know, and there is a teenager who starts to go to his house.
Ah, yeah.
Do you remember this?
Up Pupil
this
it's called.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Up Pupil.
Finishes.
Up Pupil is a fantastic book, yeah, and a very, very good movie with. Oh my God, I'm now misremembering everything. Sir Ian McKellen is.
Is there a movie about that?
Yeah, Up Pupil was made into a movie with Sir Ian McKellen playing the part of the German.
You see, we're ahead of our time, and we've already figured all of this out. We showed how F3 is going to be drawn, so now you guys have time to chit chat about your favorite books.
Yeah.
That's official commentary for you.
Okay, so this 192 pages. So okay, not
Yeah, it's
really
a lot.
short.
It's a lot longer than I thought somehow.
And yeah, and a lot shorter than I thought. Yeah, so it's
So
in between.
Somewhere in the middle,
Just
yeah. Somewhere in the middle.
Okay, so I'll take a very short break because nothing is happening and nothing is going to happen. So.
Shawshank Redemption, somebody says, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, King Crusher is finally crushing some kings there in chat. Yeah, Shawshank Redemption is a good one.
He has nothing to redeem himself for, though, this year.
Who?
Okay, other than losing a match to you, he's had a good year.
Yeah, I actually saw in chat someone suggesting that he might be sort of in the running for the best player of the year. I think that's slightly overstating it, but he has had a...
Probably the difference between his rating and his performance rating might be the biggest. Yeah, I mean, probably there are people with higher performance rating than him, but they have a higher rating as well. So probably he's got this, you know, outdone himself the most. Let's say, let's put it like that.
Yeah, and okay, King is on G5.
Yeah, I still feel like trying to, like, you know, maybe we are missing some, but I think we don't. This bishop can simply control this. It feels to me like maybe there is some kind of H3 or something clever, but
no, I think the only try is, if allowed, King F4 followed by F3 followed by G4 followed by G8.
But that's what
but we refuted it. Yeah, we refuted it, and it doesn't really take too you know, it's not that difficult to figure out how it's refuted.
Yeah, you have to do well, have the, you know, you have to go through it in your head. Make sure.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you don't blunder anything there, but then again, it really isn't that,
when you
that
are
difficult.
playing the World Championship match and you are concentrated there, you're probably gonna manage it quite easily. It's gonna be question to Magnus again, like, when did you realize it was a draw? Seen that one?
No.
Oh, there was a press conference, and at some point a journalist asked him about this game that he pressed on. Remember this other opposite color bishop endgame? And the journalist asked him, like, so Magnus, you played very long, and like for a win. When did you realize it was a draw?
Okay, and what Magnus?
Did I realize it was a draw?
Okay,
it was a mad Magnus.
Yeah, what he did here is basically a draw offer.
G4.
Fair enough. I mean, we
That's
appreciate.
We hadn't looked at.
We appreciate. Is it? Hang on.
No, we had looked. There is some tricks here to go
so
G5, F4, F5,
and H5.
H4, and then F5.
Yeah, maybe this. Yeah, I just assumed this is
no,
how
this
the
is
game
final,
ends.
In fact, this is the final try of him. So he wants to go here.
Yeah,
and he wants
here
to
H4.
go H4.
And he wants to go F5.
Takes
yeah.
H5.
Yeah. But I think the point is,
he's trying something.
I think the point is that we go Bishop B3 here. Okay. I mean, King takes G4. We go Bishop B3 straight away, and we never put it. Like, we keep it on C2. Bishop C2, F4, Bishop B1, H4, Bishop C2, F5, Bishop B1.
Oh yes.
This is my point, and I actually don't even react to this. I continue doing the same dance.
Today you completely redeemed yourself for.
Okay, I mean this is.
You are very good at
this is slightly simpler than the ones I had to play.
5GH always.
Yeah, so as long as you realize what's coming and you keep it on C2.
I don't think, by the way, it's simpler than the ones you had to play. It's just probably you. I mean,
less pressure. Let's call
Yeah,
it
yeah.
less pressure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
when I'm here, I'm not about to lose yet another game to Kramnik, so I'm a lot more cheerful.
Yeah, no, this is actually some good piece of defense here. I mean, this is quite impressive. F5, just wait.
Yeah, we
wait.
just don't care.
That is really
We
good
just
stuff.
don't care.
That's high level stuff here. And similarly, it is then becomes a dead draw because now we realize that here we can go here,
Yeah,
and after this we just can.
yeah.
go
That
back.
was my original
One
point.
question though: if I go King G7 and then F5, oh, but I don't care. I can wait.
Yeah.
F5 here, F6, and come back.
Yeah, and come back. Yeah.
These 2 pawns are going to trade themselves, and this is covered. Nice. It's a good piece of fortress holding. Very nice. Probably there are other ways, but this is a very
Yeah,
elegant
there
one.
are probably other options as well, but like for instance, probably by this point we can actually switch to defending with the king, like King D7, King E6, and
Also, I believe F6 is possible here. Try to establish a blockade and then go Bishop E6 and this trade these pawns for.
mm-hmm.
But this what you showed
Whoa.
us is very.
Whoa.
Oh, this is beer, yeah.
Well, it looks. I mean, judging.
Oh, Alexander, did you know that when you brought this bottle to the press conference in the candidates, everybody thought it was not a tea?
Yeah, but you know, I have for the first time in my life, I have written an open letter.
I
mean,
saw.
sort of an open.
I saw to New in Chess magazine, yeah.
So
I was
What?
actually was guilty because I suggested to the New in Chess editors that that was what but you meant it as a joke, or you didn't see that at all?
no. I didn't mean it as a joke.
Wow.
I just showed it, and that's it. I mean,
That became like a meme, you know.
yeah,
and
but
you
I
didn't
don't
even
know why.
intend-
I mean,
you didn't
I
even
never
intend
meant
it.
that way.
Wow,
No,
no,
no.
but you are so legendary. Like even when you don't mean epic jokes, like you still make them.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant piece of
Yeah,
chess history.
I'll have to, and Bishop A2 already on the board, so Fabi figured it out.
Yeah.
Not a huge surprise.
Very cool, very cool. I like it when it's you can do it in such a passive way.
Why to A2 is so important?
Because basically, the only winning plan is we play King G5, F4, F5, Bishop takes F5, H5. And the way to reply to it is just never to react to F5. You play H4 in this position, I don't take. I go Bishop C2. You go King F6, I don't take, I go Bishop D3, and so on. So he just brings the bishop to this diagonal immediately, and he says, yeah, I know what you're doing, you're not succeeding, move on.
Yeah, but I mean, if he plays King F6 before playing
There's still nothing,
F5, I mean, then you will have to go back, yeah?
Yeah, but then F5, Bishop B1 anyway.
Like
Yeah, no.
like even this
Yeah, like that.
and even
But I think I had I think it was exactly the same setup I had against Ponomarev. When my Berlin went slightly wrong with black. And I think it was almost exactly like that. Yeah, and I was very scared with black. And I think, and especially when you play in Ponomarev, you expect him to sort of torture you for a long time. But, you know, he just made a couple moves and said draw. Yeah, I said yes, sure.
Yeah, but we will now see this entire sequence blitzed out and the game will end in a draw. I don't think Magnus will, you know, wander around with his pieces for another 25 minutes here.
yeah.
Yeah, and people are saying if the bishop is on e6, black is lost. I have a feeling, yeah, if you, like in this position, if you allow this exact setup, like if you run into, specifically into f5 here, you probably do lose.
Obviously, yeah.
You probably do lose because let's say here you're just not in time to get back to the diagonal. But yeah, not gonna be allowed.
Yeah, you can on one hand say that credit to Magnus for still asking a question, on the other hand, well, there were probably many ways to draw it anyway, so it's not like Fabi had to sweat.
Yeah, and he probably saw this setup in advance.
Exactly, yes.
Otherwise, he could have defended in different
Exactly,
ways.
because you could argue here that Fabi holds a draw by sort of a miracle, but okay, if he hadn't seen it, he would have done another miracle, or he would have done it. So basically, Magnus really had no chance today. Let's not also.
No, I mean it's a miracle only if one guy is playing with white. Then it's a miracle.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah,
But you know, Anish, you probably were not there in London candidates, which was arguably the greatest candidates ever.
That Kramnik and Magnus shared, and Magnus won a tiebreak, right?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, okay, there is no book like Bronstein's book about 53 candidates in Zurich, but I think the tournament itself is greater than the 53 one. And at some point, Kramnik played a game against Aronian. With white, it was some ready defense, and Aronian quickly misplayed it, got into large trouble, and then he was defending very imaginatively the whole game, and finally he saved some difficult endgame with some study-like defense. And then somehow I finished my game at around that time, and also I was waiting for their press conference to finish. And yeah, and okay, so they start their press conference, and Kramnik uses the word miracle or miraculous defense, or miraculously he here saves the game. Like I counted, I think 22 times. So then Aronian started to use another word, but with the same meaning. I forgot which exact word that was. Like, what could it be? Maybe you can help me.
I don't know. Astonishing.
It was not surprising. Something like astonishing.
Incredible.
But a little bit simple. Incredibly, yes, incredibly. Yes, and it was like Kramnik says, and here Black miraculously survived, and Aronian says, incredibly, this is not a dead draw. Well, like mano a mano. Word, word,
yeah,
word,
Levon, he likes
eye for
yes,
eye,
yes.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't let. I mean, there are different approaches. I saw Ding Liren, for example, during his press conference with Kramnik.
Yeah.
He just let him do that. Whereas some people, they try to fight back, like Levon. He wants to fight back.
No, but I think Ding was actually kind of, he was very polite, but he was sort of still very firmly defending his assessments.
At some point, yes. At some point, it was very funny because at some point he was laughing and he was like, "No, it's draw." Yeah.
Yeah, and people.
You mean the game when he had a queen against rook and knight? Rook and knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Vladimir still wasn't convinced. I mean, even after we spoke about it, and he told me still he was close to. He was probably winning there in the game. So he did.
Yeah, and incredibly, people are saying that the game has been agreed drawn now.
Incredibly, yeah.
Yeah, miraculously, nothing happened in a drawn bishop, opposite color bishop.
Yeah, this is actually quite instructive for players who have less experience with opposite color bishop. This particular drawing mechanism is not, even to me, it didn't come like an obvious thing. I've seen many opposite color bishop endgames. I've seen many draws in my life, but this is not like the, I think it's still a pretty nice one.
Yeah, it's a nice mechanism. It's not very difficult, but it's important that you can actually ignore these types of kind of tension setups and force.
Yeah, like this is not really hanging because it's just a nice little lesson for us, the noobs of the opposite color bishop endgame.
Yeah, it's very useful to know it for the blitz games, because in blitz you might not have enough time to figure it out during the game, so it's very useful to know it.
It's
for
true,
classical, I mean, it doesn't really matter, you will figure it out unavoidably, but yeah.
Yeah, you are right. Like some people, even if they've never seen it, they would figure it out if they have like 5 minutes, but if you have never seen it before, maybe 10 seconds is not enough. That's what you are saying, yeah?
Yeah,
yes.
Sure. You can get panicky and then, I don't know, run with your king to the king side, then c-pawn gets to c7.
Yeah, true. Like here, you can suddenly be like, oh crap, a 4 or 5 is coming. You go indeed here, and then this guy.
Yeah.
It all gets all.
And maybe it's still a draw, even if you, let's say, play king d7, king d8.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Let the pawn to c7, but maybe not. I mean,
let's not get it. Okay, so not really a ton to say about today's game, I guess. So we probably should do some kind of a preview about game 12. We've heard Sasha's opinion that like he assigned a 40% probability to a decisive result. Pretty much an even split between white winning and black winning, slightly in favor of Fabi winning with white. What do you think, Anish? Is it just like would you give?
Yes, I definitely give Fabi a small favorite because coming from a game like this, Fabi both players go into the last two rounds. There is the rest day. Both players worried about mostly their black games, right? And Fabi is still not sure how the black game will go. And it's suddenly such a relief. I mean, he didn't even have to suffer. It was such an easy draw for him. He's so relieved. I think psychologically, Magnus was so frustrated. Obviously, I don't think it was.
I mean, I keep coming back to the. I mean, I asked it and it was answered by Sasha and I think by you as well. But like, it kind of blows my mind that. Once again, between the two choices, that this is a very poor piece of preparation against a line which was kind of spoiled midway through the match, and also is arguably maybe the central line of the variation, or at least one of the central lines of the variations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently everything until h6 is a game Sashikiran Miroshnichenko.
Yeah, somebody said that, but I couldn't remember the move orders. And Miron played rook e8, I guess, if he didn't play h6, yeah?
Yeah, and also equalized, but yeah.
By the way, in defense of Magnus's helpers, he didn't have to go for the force sequence, which allowed knight g4, knight
yeah.
5. He could have gone h3, I don't know, whatever, b3, and keep on playing, right? He could have made it a long game still.
Yeah.
It only Peter.
But black will push g5, no?
Yeah, but after d5, I mean, I'll get the c4 square, I can play a4.
Yeah.
My king is closer to the center than yours. I mean, this, let's say, looks miserable.
I mean, I can argue that I control an extra square in the center by my c5 pawn. So
Yeah.
But my final argument will be the computer.
Again, you can.
Yeah. But my final argument will be the computer gives white here 0.2, so then maybe you can say white is a little bit better.
Yeah. And on something in chat, because I feel my job here is to be reacting to chat. Russians do drink tea, but I don't think it is tea that Sasha is drinking right now.
I did drink a tea just if somebody cared for what I drink. It was tea.
Yeah, it was.
But Sasha drinks all the cool drinks.
Yep, and yeah, game 12. Once again, no real reason for Fabi to do something drastically different in openings, or we expect some kind of a one-shot attempt we have not seen before.
No, I think it's whatever he finds some idea, like in the candidates against Aronian in an extremely important game for him in the penultimate round. He just played an idea I played a day before against Aronian, this bishop d2 in Marshall. No, in anti-Marshall, you could say, yeah. So it's just whatever idea he finds and he likes. I mean, it just can be anything.
Yeah, by the way, that was a brilliant idea. I mean, you've played many brilliant ideas with white and the candidates, and I'm surprised that none of the players have hired you for this match, because I mean, nowadays it was very refreshing to see that you brought some really many ideas to the. I mean, in Marshall alone, there was the bishop d2, and also you showed something new against Wesley So, right? When you beat him in one of the early rounds.
Not really, not really. It's more like he played it in a slightly strange fashion.
Still, you confused him, and also against Dingliren you went for the knight xf7 in
with Dingliren, yes. With Dingliren, yes.
So I feel still that you've done, let's say, a more impressive job than Magnus in this match with white. That's how I would put it.
No, but it's hard to to make a less impressive job.
No, but I'm not saying that because Magnus didn't do a great job, but really because I was really impressed with your. I mean, we were also preparing for the candidates with Vladimir. Arguably, I would have done things differently that he did, but still, I was impressed to see how you managed to prepare for that event, and it was very refreshing that in 2000, whatever it was, 17, it was, right? Or
it was this year.
18, it was this year.
It was just this year? Yeah, I mean in 2018, in fact, in the same year as this match, you brought so many new ideas to the table. I mean, this bishop d2 thing was almost completely new. I mean, I've seen some games of Bartel, but other than that, it was really a new idea in a well-known opening. So, and you brought something.
But bishop d2 is not me, it's not my idea.
You mean one of your seconds, or?
Yeah, yeah.
But okay,
I
then...
mean, against Dean Glirian, it was mine. Yeah, but this one is not mine. Against Wesley, so also not mine. So yeah,
But okay, I mean,
I don't want to take credit what is not mine for what is not mine.
Well, you inspired the people who worked for you, perhaps. That's also a quality, right? To inspire the people working for you to find some ideas. You probably told them where to look, or I don't know, or...
No, basically I said that I will be happy with any idea in any opening with white. I mean, that was just, I don't...
Maybe that's enough, maybe that's enough. Maybe just the mindset. You just said, I want an idea with white. Maybe this is what people need.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but in general, what do you think the percentage, how to say, because people are speaking so much about the teams.
Yeah.
But I think it's still at least 50% responsibility of the player itself, the preparation, no matter how big your team is. Because also when it's just the work of your team, then still you cannot really absorb it. I mean,
yeah, that is very true.
It's still sort of alien thing for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. When you have to rely on files you haven't really participated in creating, it's extremely difficult to figure out why they say what they're saying. And yeah, I've had this problem.
Even, I mean, first of all, then it's impossible to remember the file.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not your file.
Absolutely.
But even if you somehow remember, still it's alien for you, and it's not the same at all.
Yeah, I agree with this completely. I don't know how to split the percentages, but this point is absolutely true. Yeah.
I think it depends on players. I know more or less how Fabiano works. I'm sure in case of Fabi, he just sits together with his team and he does a lot of work himself. Whereas I think Magnus, the impression I get is that he's more like Karpov, you know, he's more of a player. And this also explains why he doesn't go for certain lines, because he cannot go for certain lines that are complicated, because he hasn't gone through it. And that explains also why he goes for simple positions like this, because he can understand them without having spent hours working on them. So I think it's very individual. I also had different experiences. I also work a lot myself, and indeed I had some experience when I let my team do a bit too much at the start of a training session, and at some point I realized I'm not catching up with them. I had to go back to the drawing board, so to speak.
Yeah.
And why do these words? I mean, you know, just whatever. But you get the point. And then I changed back to how I usually do it. I mean, but it depends on the. I heard Shakhriyar, for example. He said in an interview that he doesn't spend any time with computer. He just gets the notes from the seconds and absorbs it. Tries to absorb it.
Well, you only have you can only envy this amount of sort of reading comprehension, because for me that would be extremely difficult.
But it also explains why occasionally Shakhriyar mixes up the lines. And Maxim Ashilagraf also, at least during the tournaments, I heard him saying that he doesn't use computer during the tournaments at all.
But I mean, with MVL you get the feeling that he actually actively participates in the preparation of the files, and not using the machine very much during the tournaments, I've come to appreciate that concept more and more, because I think you have to preserve the energy, and like clicking for 3 hours before the game, for me it would just kill me stone dead. I can't, like, there's only so much energy I have per day, so like if I do heavy chess work before the game, I'm probably not going to be able to play well.
Yeah, it's very individual. I mean, I know a lot of chess players, some colleagues of mine or people I worked with. I know people who prepare, like, I don't know, 5-6 hours before a game, and they're fine. That works for them. I know players who indeed try to stay away from them. There are all kinds of approaches. But what we started with is me complimenting Alexander on his preparation for the candidates. And I believe by now, after 6 games of Magnus, we can sort of conclude that, yeah, things didn't go right for him.
Yeah, I don't think you
Didn't
can.
go right.
I don't think you can be, you know, very happy with what is being shown here.
When he was white, I mean, his black preparation.
Black is fine, yeah, but white is. I mean, seems undercooked.
Yeah, maybe I'm sure they worked a lot, but somehow things turned this way, and it was rather unfortunate for him. But he wasn't able to show what they worked on with white. Let's put it that way.
And somewhat curiously, this is exactly what Karekin said in 16, right? That they worked a great deal and had a ton of ideas, but somehow none of them really worked or materialized, or like all of their preparation sort of went to waste, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this was more or less the exact quote.
Yes, I guess that happens
You
very
mean
often.
whose preparation?
Karyakin.
Kramnik,
No, Karyakin's.
Carlsen's or Karyakin?
Karyakin's.
Okay, but no, I think it was amazingly well. I mean, he was just making draws. I mean, playing for a draw with white and always succeeding. No, it was amazing.
Ah, okay.
But even after the match, he showed what he had prepared against Berlin. Just some forced
one.
draw where black has to make one precise move.
That was a
he
decent,
showed
decent
it
try.
in
Against
one
Anand, against Anand in Norway chess, yeah? The
Yeah,
one Berlin. Yeah, it's a decent,
yes.
decent one game try.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a decent try.
All right. I think this probably wraps up the show for today. Is there some blitz to look forward to, Sash?
No, but there will be one by me after 12th game, and as I promised during the previous show, that if somehow Magnus stands up against the universe, then there will be a warm-up banter right before the tie breaks with me playing against hopefully Peter and Anish.
I'll be here. I'll be here. And
what
hope.
about you, Anish?
Yeah, I mean, I have to. I mean,
Yeah, come on.
You.
Yeah, we'll be here.
I have
You
to.
have
I mean,
to. Okay, let's settle on that.
Okay.
Also, I mean, when there will be 12 draws, I think I owe so much to the players and to the chess community that I will have to volunteer.
You have to give back, yeah.
Yes.
Giving back to the community is
exactly,
important.
Yes.
All right, thanks everyone for watching. This will be my easiest recap of the match, so I'm thankful. We've just had Thanksgiving, so I am thankful to the players for providing me with a reasonably light workload for today, even though honestly I really wanted bishop g5 on move 12 and a bloodbath, but
Finally an early dinner.
yeah, either an early dinner or a bloodbath, and early dinners are good. I nothing to say against early dinners. And we'll see all of yous on Monday, same time I assume, yeah? Same time on Monday with the final classical game of the match.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching.
Take care, guys.